This is the Sun America NBC Sports Desk. Here's your host, Hannah Storm.
An estimated 300,000 spectators on hand this afternoon at the legendary Indianapolis Motor Speedway as NASCAR returns to Indy for the 8th annual Brickyard 400, one of stock car racing's most prestigious events. Hi, everybody. Hannah Storm in our New York studio, and we'll get you out to the coverage of the Brickyard 400 in just a moment. But first, last night in the Busch Grand National Series race, it was held across town under the lights at the Indianapolis Raceway Park, and with 27 laps to go, Busch Series points leader Kevin Harvick in the number 2 car took the lead. Harvick qualified 12th, and he spent most of the night trying to move through the pack. He did survive a scary moment when his car stalled coming out of a red flag with just 10 laps left. Meanwhile, Greg Biffle in the number 60 car made a bold move on the final lap to claim second place. Harvick, with the victory, ended a busy Saturday with his 4th Busch win of the year. He also qualified 11th for the Brickyard 400 earlier yesterday. That's it for the sports desk. Now let's join NBC's NASCAR team for the Brickyard 400.
This has been the Sun America NBC Sports Desk. Sun America, the retirement specialist.
It is the home of the bravest, a towering tribute to man, machine, and a dream.
Alex, senior, is going to win his 4th Indianapolis 500.
For the winner here, it is the happy ending that Hollywood had in mind. Here, the biggest stars are recorded in black and white, and even the toughest critic gave this one a thumbs up.
The history of this place is just more than we can really comprehend.
Around the world, around the country, around the block. One word says racing: Indianapolis. Oh, say, can you speed?
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me double shot of time.
NBC Sports presents the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. Today, it's the 8th running of the Brickyard 400, live from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in Speedway, Indiana. The foundation for this place was built in 1909. At the time, it was to be a combination racetrack and test track for the growing automotive industry. Today, it remains just that. A track that will test any competitor, and a test that often defines the proud difference between driver and racer. This track is much more than bricks and concrete. It's the cornerstone of motorsports competition. It's more than the race. It's the place, Indianapolis. Hi, everybody. Bill Weber along with Benny Parsons on the NBC War Wagon, bringing you right on into Victory Lane at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and this is quite a place. Even when the track is quiet, the roar of great names and great races still echoes through the grandstands. 85 Indy 500s, and in a little over 30 minutes, the 8th running of the Brickyard 400. And Benny, I know you'll want to win them all, but this is one you dream about winning.
Bill, when the season starts, the teams look at their schedule. There's 2 dates they schedule, the Daytona 500 and the Brickyard 400. And I wondered which one is more important, has become more important to the teams. So this morning, walking to the garage here, I asked that question, and I'm shocked. I was amazed at how many guys said they'd rather win the Brickyard 400.
It's big.
It's real big, and Bill, I know big.
That's right. Now, a year ago, it was Bobby Labonte kissing the bricks here. That's a good thing. His first win in the Brickyard 400, and he raced on to the Winston Cup Championship. Last week, he won at Pocono. 2 storylines that showcase his determination and desire.
Here's Bobby Labonte to talk about someone racing their way into a title.
Bobby Labonte is the NASCAR Winston Cup champion for 2000.
I got 2 trophies on my mantle over the fireplace, and that's the only 2 trophies I have in my house, and one of them is the Brickyard trophy, and you can imagine what the other one is, so that trophy means a lot.
Blocking, ducking, diving. Incredible racing in the final laps here at Pocono.
his first win as Winston Cup champion. Bobby won at Charlotte last October, clinched the championship in November, but went 24 races without a victory before last Sunday. He won at Pocono. Yesterday he won the IROC race and the IROC championship. Today he starts 15th, and he's with Marty Snyder.
And Bill, no one has ever questioned this man's desire, especially to win back-to-back Brickyard 400. So that's what everybody wants to know. What are your chances of repeating here at the Brickyard?
Well, we're going to pick up some speed from yesterday afternoon. We didn't quite have the speed, and we fell off a little bit too much, so we changed a few things this morning. Jimmy and I talked a lot last night. Hopefully we made the right decisions. If we did, hopefully we'll be competitive.
He's the 2000 Winston Cup champion. It says so right here. Let's hear from the man who's leading the 2001 points. He's with Matt Yoakum.
And Marty, two-time Brickyard 400 winner Jeff Gordon knows all too well that special feeling, that mystique of winning here at Indy. He won the inaugural race back in 1994, then again in 98. But Jeff, starting all the way back in 27, and this place is so difficult to pass. What's the game plan to get to victory lane?
Well, 400 miles is the game plan. We all year long, we've been there at the end. We've been a threat to win, and at least we need a top 5 here, and hopefully we'll get some track position. And we're going to have to do it in the pits. We're going to have to do it, on the racetrack. But we try to set the car a little bit freer for early on to be in that much traffic. So we might have to make some adjustments once we get that track position. But our plan is to go to the front. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I hope it gets there eventually.
He's got 400 miles to pull off his third career Brickyard 400 victory. To Dave Burns.
Hey, Matt, last week, Dale Jarrett was the points leader going into Pocono. But by the end of the day, that idea was out the window.
Things that I used to say, all the words that got in the way, all the things that I used to know have gone out the window. All the things that I used to say, all the words that got in the way, all the things that I used to know have gone out the window.
Dale Jarrett does not want to have another day like that anytime soon. But Dale, how did you guys recover this week from that disappointment?
I don't even remember last week right now. We're at Indianapolis, and that's the thing about our team is you can't dwell on those things. Our guys know that could all change in just a matter of minutes, whether it's this week or the upcoming weeks. We've got a lot of racing to do. We're totally focused on winning the Brickyard 400 today, and we think we've got a shot at it.
All right, he's put it out of his mind. The points still say he's got 107 to make up, and he'll try hard today. Back to Bill and Benny on the War Wagon.
Okay, so last week Dale Jarrett took a hit in the
points. Yes, points. All important point standings. And Dale Jarrett is one of the guys I talked to, asked the question, Daytona 500, Brickyard 400, and believe it or not, from Hickory, North Carolina, here's a guy that said he'd rather win the Brickyard 400 because his answer, the driver is a much more important tool here to winning. It is a driver-team combination here. He felt like with the restrictor plate at Daytona Talladega, too much emphasis on the car.
Wow. Well, there are 43 seats on the track here. The Speedway admits to having 250,000 seats around the facility. They opened the gates here at 8 a.m. this morning, and you can see what's happened since. But even with all these seats, nobody can see the whole track. Nobody except you. You'll see every inch of it today, right here on NBC.
Hi, I'm Jeff Chu from General Motors. Bobby, on behalf of Pontiac, which has been the official pace car of NASCAR for the past 30 years, I would like to congratulate you on everything you've accomplished this past season, including winning the Brickyard 400 and the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship. As a token of our appreciation, we would like to present you with this 2001 Pontiac Grand Prix for you to donate to the charity of your choice.
Well, last season was a dream season for me and everyone associated with Pontiac's wide track attack. I'm proud to accept this Pontiac Grand Prix as a token from every one of y'all, and have decided to autograph it and present it to Kyle Petty to assist with effort to raise money for his Victory Junction gang camp.
NBC's coverage of the NASCAR Winston Cup Brickyard 400 is brought to you by the Wide Track Grand Prix from Pontiac. Wider is better. By Lamisil AT, the best way to cure athlete's foot. And by Papermate, at the heart of communication.
And now it's time to put the 1973 Winston Cup champion to the test. Benny's going to make a lap here at Indianapolis, and this would be your first lap around the Brickyard.
First lap at the Brickyard, and Bill, I'm looking forward to it.
Good luck to you, pal.
I hope it's going to be good. Let's take a look at our Thunder Motion, powered by EA Sports. Let's go down the front straightaway. 3,300 feet. Turn one. Got to get out wide so I can get down to the very bottom of the racetrack. And you can see I did not get down to the bottom. I've ruined this entire lap. But we'll go ahead and continue on. Short shoot, 1/8 of a mile across to turn 2. And once again, only 9 degrees banking in turn 2. I've got to get the car down to the bottom. Back straightaway, once again, 3,300 feet. Turn 3, bank 9 degrees as well. I'm going to try to do a better job getting down to the proper line, down next to the white line. Not bad off the corner up against the outside retaining wall. Across that short shoot, once again, 1/8 of a mile. Turn 4, critical. Get off this corner down to these straightaways. Great corner. You did good that time, BP. Bill, that's a lap around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
You made up some time there in 3 and 4, but next year you better come here and test before the Brickyard 400.
Would I test the odd or even?
You'll test with the odd-numbered cars, I assure you. Have a good day in the air-conditioned booth.
Thank you, Bill.
Now, that's one lap around this track, but this race is 160 laps around a 2.5-mile surface. Still, the most critical straightaway will probably be Pit Road. It's 2,175 feet long, and these drivers will use every inch of it. Here's Wally Dallenbach to explain.
Last week at Pocono, we showed you how wide the racetrack was. Well, Pocono also has one of the widest pit lanes. From the edge of the pit box to the wall is 60 feet wide. That's 3 lanes. Here at Indy, it's a different story. It's narrow, and I mean real narrow. It's only 23 feet from the edge of the pit box to the pit wall. Now, there's a lot of racetracks that have 23, 25-foot wide pit lanes. The difference here is Indy's got this wall. Places like Daytona, Talladega, you've got grass. If things get a little bit congested, you can take to the grass. No harm, no foul. As a driver, my pit stop is done. I've got to rely on my crew chief to get me out. I can't see behind me. I can't see to the right. If he says clear, I know I can drive to the outside lane and go all the way out of the pits. But if he says car high, I have to stay on the inside lane because I know there's going to be a car to my right. When all this is happening, I also have to worry about the cars peeling out in front of me from their pit stalls. These pits are very narrow here at Indianapolis, and a race doesn't go by without somebody getting into somebody on pit lane.
Watch for trouble right there today. 43 pit stalls on pit road. They are selected in the order of how the cars qualified. Here's a look at where some of the top teams will pit this afternoon in the Brickyard 400. And when we continue from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, a trip home for an Indiana favorite who takes the emotions of racing to extremes.
Well, if the fans could just walk in my shoes, maybe I wouldn't be so misunderstood.
Jeff Gordon. But while Tony has been earning those wins, he's also been earning a reputation as a hot-tempered talent that will never be satisfied with finishing second. As Tony goes along, that's an attitude that will never grow old for him because that's how he grew up.
When you told him to do something once, he didn't do it then. You had to tell him 2 or 3 times, and then you reach a limit.
I never thought that my mother could actually break a wooden spoon on me.
I spanked him with a wooden spoon.
And it broke.
And it broke.
He's got his knees on my arms, sitting on my torso, and would just tickle me till I cried. He was just horrible. He was evil.
When you were 12 or 13, did you forget to cut the lawn one Saturday by 1 o'clock?
And it was probably one of the biggest mistakes I ever made.
I got a phone call, and the guy wanted to know if I knew where there's a go-kart for sale. And I said, yeah. I said, I know where there's one. He said, whose is it? And I said, Tony's.
I was playing baseball with my buddy, having a good time.
Tony's standing there with his mouth open and eyes bugged out, looking at the go-kart go out the driveway. I don't know if it taught him anything or not, but he sure got a shock out of it.
Contrary to his brash image, Tony Stewart grew up in quiet Columbus, Indiana, and all he ever wanted to do was race.
This is the place where I started my racing career. I used to have to mow the grass up by the grandstands because my father was the president of the kart club, and so I'd come out here and watch him work on the track, and I'd mow the grass, and then on the weekends we'd race and chase girls through the grandstands and go get hot dogs.
Today it's Tony who's considered the hot dog, the result of a familiar racing recipe. Winning is good, losing stinks.
Every time we got ready to back out of this driveway, I would say, "Can you win tonight?" And he'd say yes. I said, "Good, because when you tell me you can't, we're not leaving the driveway."
In our sport, there's one winner and 42 losers, and I hate to lose. I mean, you show me a good loser, and I'll show you somebody that I can beat on a weekly basis.
I just got wrecked. I mean, you guys can see it. I mean, what do you need me to tell you for?
I always told him to be honest, tell it like it is, don't whitewash it.
For those people that had any doubts and thought that I was putting everybody in danger, you're a bunch of idiots, because I was the fastest car on the racetrack at the end.
It's good for NASCAR. It keeps everybody on their toes.
Puts a little excitement in the race. That's what you want to see.
It's not always the way I would like to see him express himself, but I don't want him to be dishonest and be somebody that he's not.
It seems the camera is always at its best when Stewart is at his worst. Colorful words and vivid pictures have targeted Tony as racing's bad boy. His short emotional fuse can be lit by failure, frustration, and run-ins with racing foes.
I can think of maybe 4 instances where 5 minutes of cooling off in your position would change almost everyone's perception of you.
Absolutely.
Have you thought about that?
Absolutely. Our sport's the only sport that doesn't have a cool-down period after the race, and I'd love to see that change.
The fans see things that aren't necessarily the way the drivers really are, and they get a false impression. You go at it tooth and toenail for a period of time, and then they expect you to climb out and smile and say, "Gee, that was a nice race. My car was great. My sponsors are fantastic." That's crap.
Do you regret any of the things you've done, Tony? Or do you feel any need to apologize for any of them?
Everything I do is because I believe in it. Now, I don't throw fits because I believe in throwing fits, but when I throw a fit, it's because I believe I've been wronged or that somebody's done me the wrong way.
I say, go, Tony. That's okay. You can fight for it.
The bad boy image does fit well with NASCAR. That's why I like him so much.
Winston Cup racing in 53 years didn't just become this for no reason and just by smiling and waving all the time. I mean, there's been emotion behind it, and in my opinion, this sport is losing a lot of its personalities. There's other guys just like me, but you worry about being politically correct and saying the right things and worry about upsetting people. If I worried about upsetting people all the time, I'd be miserable.
Tony Stewart was raised to win. That's a trait his father encouraged and a trait that his fans love. Now, you heard that as a kid, he never left home without believing he could win. Well, today, Tony Stewart believes he can win without really leaving home. He's 9th on the grid and 4th in the race to the championship.
America's legendary racetrack. Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire. And the rock and roll world of NASCAR's Winston Cup. Anything can happen, and the best is yet to come. Rated S for speed.
No more time for previews. The feature presentation is about to begin. NBC Sports is live at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway to bring you the 8th running of the Brickyard 400 for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. They used 3.2 million paving bricks to build this racing surface. Today, the purse is $6.7 million. Leading the field to the green flag, 44-year-old Jimmy Spencer. Saturday, he earned his 2nd career pole. Today, he chases his 3rd career win and his 1st in more than 7 years. Spencer is just one of 43 stories to be written today. Let's swing through the field, starting with Marty Snyder.
Bill, the big topic today will be passing. It's extremely difficult to do here in Indy, but believe it or not, this is a place where you can start at the back and come to the front. Thus the task for Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Rusty Wallace today. They start 36th and 37th. Their plan is simple. Take care of me, and I will take care of you. And while in the marketplace, their sponsors are arch rivals. Today, these guys are the best of buddies and each other's best hope. Let's go to Matt Yoakum.
The Yates Rockets of Ricky Rudd and Dale Jarrett enter Indianapolis 2nd and 3rd in points, and today the two teammates will roll off 4th and 6th on the grid. The two drivers have recorded wins in this 2.5-mile palace of speed and history, and they chase more. Jarrett's gunning to become the first 3-time Brickyard 400 winner, while Rudd's trying to make it a 3-way tie on the Brickyard's all-time win list. But the two title rivals are also focused on the bigger prize, the championship, and hoping one historical trend will hold true for one more season, as the last 3 Brickyard 400 winners have also gone on to claim the championship. To Dave Burns.
Matt, this has been a tough weekend for Bill Elliott because of something very good. This week, NASCAR changed a rule that gave the Dodges more aerodynamic downforce on the front of their cars. This helps the drivers turn the cars in the corners. This week, that has changed the balance, and now they have to work very hard to get the balance back on the rear end. The teams have been working very hard, and Bill Elliott's team tells me they've had to chase it the entire weekend. They hope they've got it right for the start of today's Brickyard 400. Bill?
Thanks, Dave. Gordon, Earnhardt, Jarrett, Rudd, and Labonte, names engraved on a trophy yet in racing history. Whose name will be next? Firing of an aerial shell at 8 a.m. this morning was the signal to open the gates of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. In the past 5.5 hours, fans from around the country have poured into this place. A rainbow of colors and caps. NASCAR fans don't wear their loyalty on their sleeve. They wear the whole shirt. And now, here at the track, as the pre-race festivities continue, a special presentation by the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and President Tony George, a tribute to the 1995 winner of the Brickyard 400, Dale Earnhardt.
Driving the GM Goodrich car number 3 from North Carolina, the Intimidator, Dale Earnhardt.
With the help of the good Lord and a lot of good people, I made the journey from the old dirt tracks around Kannapolis to the greatest super speedways in the world.
When I attended one of my first NASCAR races in 1980 at Talladega, everyone was talking about a young driver by the name of Dale Earnhardt. And while his 76 Winston Cup wins and 7 national championships included many great moments, none were more exciting for me than his win here at the Brickyard on a rainy afternoon in 1995.
Let's go racing.
Dale was the only person in the garage that day lobbying me to postpone the race until the next day. We later shared a special moment in Victory Lane, and it rained for the next 3 days. Dale, more than any one person, may be responsible for there even being a Brickyard 400.
There's an ominous black cloud closing in, and not the weather.
So as we enjoy the race today and celebrate its winner, let's also celebrate the life of the great champion, our friend, Dale Earnhardt.
Dale Earnhardt has won the 2nd Brickyard 400. The GM Goodrich crew celebrates Dale Earnhardt's 66th victory in NASCAR Winston Cup competition and the richest purse in all of NASCAR. Dale Earnhardt has done it.
So thank you, Tony. Y'all got a great family and a great racetrack tradition up here. I'm glad I'm the second man that won it, if not the first. We really appreciate it. And NASCAR, I guarantee NASCAR is happy to be here.
Indiana University.
Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the peril o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets crackling, the bombs bursting oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
And now, to give the most famous words in motorsports, is the chairperson of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Mary Hallman George.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
The first competitive event to take place at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway was a hot air balloon race. The winner wound up in Westmoreland, Tennessee. Today, the race is 400 miles, and it ends right where it begins. NBC's coverage of the NASCAR Winston Cup Brickyard 400 is brought to you by Dodge and nearly 3,000 dealers who invite you to come see what's new. By the Dew Crew, fueled by Dew. By the Home Depot, the official home improvement warehouse of NASCAR. And by Subway, showing the world how great a fresh-made sandwich can taste. Subway, eat fresh. Television cameras made their first appearance at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in 1949, when the Indianapolis 500 was televised live. Today, for your viewing pleasure, 76 cameras around the track and on board the cars. Now, here are the three guys that called that race 52 years ago. Alan Bestwick, Benny Parsons, and Wally Dallenbach.
We'll get you for that, Weber. Thanks and good afternoon from Indy. We are about to get to the very best time of the week, green flag time on Sunday, and it's made all the more special by being here at the Brickyard. Let's touch on a couple of quick issues that will affect today's race. Benny, first of all, this track's so difficult to pass on. How will it play into the day?
Well, it is difficult to pass because the turns are only banked 9 degrees. But Rusty Wallace is starting 37th. And Alan, I guarantee, folks, I guarantee you, they're planning on winning the race. I talked this morning to Robin Pemberton, and never did he say, we're going to run 20th today. He only talked about winning. So I guarantee you, we will see some passing.
Wally, in our pre-race show today, you talked about how narrow this pit lane is. What happens on pit road today could determine who wins.
Alan, I know firsthand what can happen on pit lane. Last year, we ruined a good finish by getting squeezed into somebody leaving the pits. My crew chief said, clear, clear, clear. I went and I ran into the 17 car, and it ruined our day because we did some damage to the front. It's going to be real important to get in and out of pit lane clean today.
Strategy will also come into play. Making up positions on pit road could determine who goes to victory lane. The energy of 250,000 people at Indianapolis, incredible as they get pumped up for the green flag. Budweiser, the official beer of NASCAR, is the proud sponsor of the Bud Pole Award given to the fastest qualifier at each NASCAR Winston Cup race. Jimmy Spencer won his first pole in 7 years. Yesterday in qualifying since 1979, Anheuser-Busch has awarded more than $7 million as title sponsor of NASCAR's Pole Award program. See that bright yellow pace car right there leading the field? Different driver than normal behind the wheel.
That's Jay Leno, the host of The Tonight Show, and Jimmy Spencer is trying to push Leno around the racetrack.
You think Jay finds that amusing?
No, not very.
Jay, the honorary pace car driver here for the Brickyard 400. Here's a look at our Walmart starting lineup. 43 drivers set to go. Jimmy Spencer winning the pole in qualifying, but Bill Elliott in the Dodge outside the front row got everybody's attention after the rule change earlier this week. Young Casey Atwood, 20 years old from Nashville, with Ricky Rudd, the 97 Brickyard 400 winner in row 2. Third row, it's Ryan Newman, the youngster driving for Roger Penske, and Dale Jarrett, a 2-time 400 winner. The fourth row, Ricky Craven for Maine, and Sterling Marlin, the third Dodge in the top 10.
On the inside of row 5 is Tony Stewart. Indiana boy, let's try to talk to Tony Stewart. Tony, this is Benny Parsons up at NBC. You got me?
Yeah, Benny, go ahead.
Last night you told us that you had a very good race car. Can you win it today?
I think we got as good a car as anybody else does out here. It's just a matter of, staying up front here, keeping good track position, and, hopefully we carry this Home Depot Pontiac to the end.
How big would it be if you could pull it off, Tony?
I appreciate it. We'll go for it. We'll get one today.
All right, Tony. I don't guess he understood me how big you would be.
You do not use the access road to
But it would be huge.
That's NBC, you big dummy.
Gotcha.
Benny was having a flashback there for a minute. Looking at the rest of the starting field for the Brickyard 400, Jeff Gordon going to come from row 14 if he's going to pick up a third win in this race. Long way to go. John Andretti makes his home in Indiana. Considers this his hometown. He's also got a long way to go in Richard Petty's Dodge. A couple of the young drivers in row 17, Stacy Compton from Virginia and Kurt Busch from Las Vegas driving for Jack Roush. Dale Earnhardt Jr. again got the final spot on time trial speed, 36th starting position. You heard Marty Snyder's report. He and Rusty Wallace going to try and tag team their way up through the traffic toward the front of the field. Talladega winner Bobby Hamilton and Ken Schrader in row 20. Jerry Nadeau driving for Rick Hendrick, and Robbie Gordon subbing again this week for Mike Skinner in row 21. And it is Buckshot Jones once again bringing up the back of the field. That's the third time in 4 weeks he has qualified 43rd. Failed to qualify 11 drivers. Look at the names on this list too. LePage, Wallace, Petty, and Shauna Robinson failing in her bid to become the first woman to make the Brickyard 400 field. Understand Terry Labonte has made an unscheduled pit stop before the green flag. Dave Burns, what's going on?
Alan, a lot of people go in and out of these cars before a race, including the crew and sometimes other people who work with the telemetry that give us the data to get data on the air for our fans. And someone, sometime this morning, left the window on the right side loose. It fell in. NASCAR allowed them to come back down pit lane and put that back in. They did not penalize them, gave them their spot back on the track.
Well, that was very nice of NASCAR to do that. Look at Kenny Schrader back there in about the 38th position. And at Pocono last week, a racetrack similar to this, Schrader was very, very strong.
He's got a long way to go to get up front and have a shot at winning the Brickyard 400. 160 laps makes up the 400 miles. Better than 250,000 fans come to their feet, ready for the start of the 8th Brickyard 400 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Jimmy Spencer and Bill Elliott bring the field down for the green flag. Spencer and Elliott side by side for the lead still to turn 3. I I got a nickel says that camera doesn't finish the race.
Jimmy Spencer will lead that first lap, and here's Casey Atwood on the inside of Ricky Rudd.
Ryan Newman, another youngster, following him through. Atwood to third, Newman to fourth, Rudd back to fifth.
Right now, this is the best time to take advantage of those new tires. This is the best your car is going to work because you've got fresh tires on. After you get some laps on, they say, oh, we got trouble.
Andy Houston's in the wall. Robert Presley is spinning. 3-4 involved. Mark Martin's in it. It's off turn 2. That's Robert Presley in the 77. And the field comes back to the caution flag, beginning to reduce speed. Martin started in 25th position. Houston started in 12th. Martin was running in 23rd position last lap by. So way back deep in the field where the problem began.
And you wonder, we saw 3 cars involved. You wonder how many more had some contact.
It's been a bad week for Andy Houston. Earlier this week, the sponsor McDonald's announced that they would be phasing out its backing of this team after they run just 7 more races, including today, the end of September after the race at Kansas. This team is all done. And McDonald's goes to be a secondary sponsor on the other car owned by Cal Wells.
On the Ricky Craven car.
Matt Kenseth's got some damage.
A lot of damage to Kenseth's car.
Wow.
And again, as I said, you wonder just how many more cars out there.
Matt Yoakum.
And Scott Rado has a hammer. They're trying to beat back down the hood. They've got some tape. They're going to try to piece together what's left of the right front corner on Mark Martin's car. He's pushed the grill back in, so they're probably going to have some water temperature problems unless they fix that. They're trying to get this car repaired as quickly as possible and get the car back out. They'll probably bring it back in so they can work on it some more before we go back to green. Tough break for Mark Martin.
Let's take a look at what happened off of turn number 2 as they worked lap 3 of the race. Pretty deep in the field this all started.
It looked like Houston, I don't know if there was contact, but all of a sudden his car is going round. And he slammed it outside wall hard with the left side. And look at all these cars down to the inside trying to find a way through. One more shot. Never see Kenseth. His contact was with the outside retaining wall.
Yeah, there you go.
Just lost it, didn't he?
Yep, away. Just broke away from him.
And that explains why the 12th place car collected the 23rd and on down. Rusty Wallace started back in 37th spot. This all happened in front of him. Let's ride with Rusty.
Oh, Rusty. Almost too soon with the throttle there, Rusty.
Worse than a San Francisco morning fog right here.
Boy, when you're driving into this and you can't do anything, try to keep the car straight. If your spotter's saying go low, then that's what you do. A lot of these guys got to really clean.
We talked about passing, folks. That is the easiest way to pass. If you can get them all stopping, just drive down to the inside. Steve Park, the 1 car. Luckily, he was not involved in this. Last night in happy hour in the last practice session, he was the fastest car.
And Park showing currently in 12th position in the Dale Earnhardt Incorporated Chevrolet. So we're under caution early in the Brickyard 400 at Indianapolis. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.
Follow me, everything is alright. And if you want to leave, I can guarantee you won't find nobody else like me.
Speedway Speedway, the 8th running of the Brickyard 400 is under an early caution. A 4-car accident off of turn number 2 involving Mark Martin, Andy Houston, Robert Presley, and Matt Kenseth. Let's get some updates from pit road. Here's Dave Burns.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. pitted while pit road was closed. He will take the penalty because they had a lot of work to do. He was having brake pedal problems. It was going to the floor. Plus, he had some damage to the car that they're working on now. The left front fender brace was separated, so they repop riveted it in there, hoping to fix that problem for Dale Jr. He's also running hot. They took some tape off to try to accommodate that. Let's go to Marty.
They have a lot of damage on Matt Kenseth's car, most of it on the right rear and the right front. That's where the team is working right now. Matt standing right here, and what happened?
Something started in front of me. I don't know. I just saw smoke. Somebody started spinning off turn 2, and me and the 77 got slowed up by another car. And the 77 slowed up, and I got in the back of him just a little bit. At the same time, whoever was behind me got in the back of me pretty hard and pushed me into the 77, then spun me out. So I don't know, kind of victim of circumstance. You know, we're just going to keep it straight for a couple laps, I guess.
They had a great day in happy hour yesterday. The car was very fast, but it will be an early day on Sunday for Matt Kenseth. Let's go to Matt Yoakum.
Jimmy Finning is Mark Martin's crew chief. Jimmy, how significant is the damage to the front of your car?
Well, we got to get the valenless back down. You know, we're way too high, so we got to get it down so we get some. You know, with that valence up, we're gonna push like crazy.
That's Jimmy Finning, Mark Martin's crew chief. They've got the pit sign out. They're going to try to bring him back in one more time and fix the aerodynamic problem he now has in that right front corner.
Well, let's see how high the right front corner is. The Dodgers last week got to kick their nose out just 2 inches, and they were talking about how much difference it was going to make. Well, there, the right front corner of Mark Martin's car is pushed up, so there's no way in the world of going around the racetrack without plowing like a snowplow.
Right, and because the reason for that is the air is going to get up underneath that nose, and it's going to create lift in the nose, and that actually feels like it's pulling the front tires off the racetrack. So when you turn the wheel, it won't turn.
Jeff Gordon running back in 19th position. One of the dangers of the championship leader starting back in traffic, where Gordon did in 27th spot. Remember Pocono last week when Dale Jarrett got wrecked? Here's Gordon coming up on the accident.
Yeah, I watched him come through from the other side, and it was pretty impressive.
Dale Jr. started back in 36th.
Jeff had a whole lot easier time of it than Junior did.
Moving obstacle course for Dale Jr., who continues to come on and off pit road, getting repairs made to the Bud machine. The restart when we come back to Indy. Indianapolis Motor Speedway, about a quarter lap from the restart in the Brickyard 400. It is Jimmy Spencer leading. Here are the cars involved in the crash. Got some damage one way or another. Ken Schrader had the nose pushed in on his car. You see the others who we've reported on already.
So sad to the second lap of the race be involved in this Mark Martin situation after at least looking at running 400 miles and at probably a reduced speed.
Plus, it's Indy. You talked about, Benny. They circled those 2 dates on the calendar, Daytona and Indy. He didn't get 5 laps into Indy, and his chance to win's over until another year. Jimmy Spencer bringing the field down for the restart. None of the leaders pitted. All those who stopped were toward the back of the field already.
Kevin Harvick trying to get on the inside of Ricky Craven, cannot quite make it. The white 29 was Harvick.
Here's Ricky Rudd underneath Ryan Newman. 4th spot to Rudd. Ooh, a little contact back there. Ricky Craven and Tom Bodine bouncing off each other as they race side by side. That's Craven in the orange car blocking to try and protect his position on Kevin Harvick.
That's where you want to be going into turn 3. You want to be down on the bottom, down on the inside.
9th place we're looking ahead at.
Made Todd a little angry. Said, I'm not giving that spot up. I'm not giving way. I'm going to race you this corners and try to beat you back to the line. And he's doing a good job of it. And Todd hangs on to that spot. Pretty impressive. Going the high side through 3 and 4 and maintaining the spot.
Especially since they both get engines from the same place, Robert Yates Racing. As mentioned, Dale Jarrett lost a couple of spots in the opening few laps. He started in 6th position. He's fallen back to 8th, and Tony Stewart has picked up 2 spots. He started 9th. He's up to 7th.
Now, if Craven does make the pass on Todd Bodine, Todd last lap was just trying to prove a point.
That's 9th place for Craven.
You know, what we call a one-groove racetrack, okay? So the reason you say that is to get around this racetrack fast and have a good lap time, you have to use all of it. You got to go all the way down to the bottom, almost hitting the grass in the corners, and you got to use all the way to the exit on the wall. So in order for to take that spot away, that's what you have to do. You've got to take away their racetrack. And that means sometimes getting down in there, getting your nose up on the door, and letting that guy know you're there, so he'll have to get out of the gas.
Let's check out the telemetry on board with Kevin Harvick. Comes off the corner at around 150 miles per hour. Down his 3,300-foot backstretch. 8,000 RPMs. It's building 175. It's like about 190 miles per hour when he gets down to 195 to turn 3. See Todd Bodine in front cannot. Seems to be Todd Bodine having some problems right now, just not able to run around the corners the way that he would like to. But I'm sure that these problems are adjustable during pit stops.
He drove in a lot deeper right there, and it looks like over turn 3 anyway, he was a little bit tighter than Kevin was, but see, Kevin's bringing up a little bit more speed getting through the corner, but he didn't dive it in so hard either.
The caution that was brought out at lap 3 was started when Andy Houston spun off of corner number 2 and crashed. Marty Snyder's with him now.
And it's been a rough week for this young man. You're okay. What happened out there, Andy?
Not really sure. Had an awesome race car. Thing really started off there on the first lap and was sticking really good, turning really good. Felt like we were going to have a good day, and just trying to get to the inside of Harvick there, who was working on my teammate Craven, and car just jumped out from under me. I don't know how close Park was to me. I don't know if he got in the back of me or whatever, but the car really stuck good the first lap, and you know, I felt like we were going to have a good car today. So it's just a shame. I mean, it's the way this year's been for us. It's been pretty tough, and just like to tell everybody back home that I'm okay, and very disappointed. I mean, first Brickyard 400, you want to come up here and run well. We qualified well. The crew did an awesome job preparing the car, and you know, we're going home early.
And the good news is, guys, he was wearing the Hans device.
Okay, now watch here. All these guys are lined up with Kevin. Todd's going to have a hard time getting back in line.
The blue car, the 66 on the outside. He's not in the preferred spot. You would not want to be there.
Well, he got it done there. I take it back.
Steve Park had to squeeze out of the gas to keep from running over Todd Bodine. But Kevin Harvick does pick up the 10th position.
I think that was more of a situation of Steve Park pushing the nose and going to push up into Todd Bodine and having to back off to avoid doing that. And Steve Park loses a spot to Ward Burton in the 22 car.
Todd Bodine falling back a little bit, Bill.
Yeah, Alan, common problem, he's very tight, and they underscored the word very. So that's going to be a problem for him until they get in and remedy that situation. 66 car, very tight.
And that's not going to get any better. As you burn the tires off, you burn the fuel off, it's going to get worse.
Andy Houston just said a moment ago that the car turned good. The car was really good and turned well. I'm afraid that it turned too well, and that's why the car's turned out from under. These other cars are really tight. You turn, and the car's trying to plow or go straight. His was just the opposite.
Well, a lot of guys yesterday, after happy hour, because they were so tight, they loosened up their cars. They didn't get another chance to practice. So they're finding out right now if they went too far or they didn't go far enough. Perhaps the 96 loosened it up after happy hour, and they went that little bit too far.
Ward Burton in the 22 picking up another spot off of Todd Bodine. So Todd back to 12th place. Here's Ward driving for Bill Davis.
And when you're tight like that, you can't get off the corner, and that's where these guys are beating them. And if they're lined up behind you, they're going to pass you down the straightaway.
Jock's going to be all right. Yeah, it's probably fit a little bit more because of that bar change.
That's Tommy Baldwin, Ward Burton's crew chief, talking to him about their car. Jeff Gordon has lost a number of positions since the restart. He took the green flag a moment ago in 19th, and he's all the way back to 26th.
Jeff's car is tight. By the looks of it right there, see, he can't get the car down to the bottom of the racetrack. That's just simply, it won't turn. And a lot of these Chevys are having that problem.
Got another.
In the corners, I can't even turn it, and then the thing's pushing
There you go.
Got another report that Gordon he's also not pleased with his engine. He said it's just not pulling up off the corner.
It won't when it's pushing.
You're right. When you're tight, you think you've just dropped 100 horsepower out of that motor. When they get that car working, you get more motor.
And if you're new to NASCAR, the term pushing and tight, those are interchangeable terms for something called understeer. Front tires don't grip as well as the back tires, so the car doesn't want to rotate around the bend.
Well, see, Jeff Gordon, he can make the car turning by backing off earlier, not getting on the throttle, but he can't keep up. So in trying to keep up with the competition and drive it in as far as they do, get on the accelerator when they do, then the chassis is just not adjusted properly.
Let's show you what we mean by a tight race car as we go to our NBC animated garage.
Car goes down the corner, the preferred line here at the Brickyard. 9 degrees banking around the bottom of the racetrack. You turn the steering wheel back on the throttle, and that's what we're talking about. It will not go around the corner. That's tight or pushing up off the corner.
And what that feels like to a driver is when you turn down in the corner, it's almost like you're hitting a patch of ice in your passenger car. The front tires don't have any grip. When you turn down in there, they just slide.
Which one of you were driving that car?
Did a good job, didn't I?
I was waiting for somebody to take the bait. Let's get more on Jeff Gordon from his pit. Matt Yoakum.
And Benny, I think we need to build a new animation, one that shows loose on entry and then tight up off the corner, because that's the problem that Jeff Gordon is dealing with right now. He's a veteran, so he knows just a ride until they will make their first scheduled pit stop somewhere around lap 35 to 37, and then they will fix what the problem is on this number 24 machine. Right now they're discussing whether to use wedge, air pressure, or track bar, but they've got plenty of time to think about it.
Now, the last thing you want when you're loose on entry is somebody behind you like the 31 car is, or anybody. I mean, because that's going to loosen the car up even more, taking air off your rear spoiler.
Here's a bid for the lead. Bill Elliott inside of Jimmy Spencer.
And everyone wondered how will the Dodges run with that extended nose. I think we're seeing pretty doggone good. The 9 and 19, both these Dodges from Ray Evernham Motorsports.
Running first and third, Sterling Marlin in a Dodge is running 6th. Ward Burton in a Dodge is running 10th. There'll be howls of protest from the Ford people if the Dodges run this well all day.
Sorry, Alan, but see how that 19 car down underneath the 26? That is the key to getting around Indianapolis Motor Speedway in one of these cars. If you can get down to the left side of that car, the corner's yours.
And now that we're 17 laps in, beginning to see some wear on the tires, and that's going to affect the handling if your car's not driving very well. It's really going to get magnified as we put more age on the rubber.
As you burn fuel and wear the tires, yes, whatever the car's doing, it becomes more and more magnified. And that's the concern, that's the problem that the Dodges had beforehand. After they burned some fuel, after the tires were worn a little bit, they could not get the cars to turn. And that's why NASCAR allowed them to extend the area under the front bumper by 2 inches.
It's been since 1994 since Bill Elliott has won a NASCAR Winston Cup race. He's in the lead early in the Brickyard 400 at Indianapolis. Motor Speedway, the caution flag has just come out over the Brickyard 400. The second place driver in the championship, Ricky Rudd, has got problems. He's off the pace. He was running 4th at the time.
He's overheating. Water is coming out the back of the car, out the overflow. In the radio communication with his crew chief, Michael McSwain, he's talking about it, that he thinks maybe a belt has come off the water pump. Bill Weber, what's going on?
He believes he's lost the water pump belt, Benny. Exactly right. We heard him on the radio. He's coasting now around the track. He'd also lost his power steering. Sometimes when those belts leave, they take other pieces and parts with them. So very disappointing. Former Brickyard 400 winner Ricky Rudd in trouble here early.
My alternator is not charging either. So it got whatever is on the alternator, it is not charging.
This is
got belts.
It takes a long time to get around this place under yellow. Can they change a belt that quick, Benny?
Well, the concern that I've got, if he's thrown those belts off, how's the oil pump belt stayed on the car? And if he knocks that off, and as He's made 5 miles, but I have not heard him say anything about not having oil pressure. No, I don't think they can put belts on and change belts in a lap. I think he's going to lose a lap.
Ricky Rudd in the race for the championship, just 45 points behind Jeff Gordon coming into the race, and he's going to be heading for pit road to the attention of the Robert Yates crew.
Along with everyone else.
Yeah. 22 laps completed in the race as the field comes to the start-finish line, and most everybody is on pit road. Remember, we talked what happens on the pit lane in terms of track position could play heavily in determining who wins this race. Bill Weber?
Casey Atwood, the youngest driver to ever participate in the Brickyard 400, is a little tight off, but it will simply be 4 tires and fuel. Big smile in the Dodge camp. Let's go down pit road to Marty.
Bill Elliott is in. He is the leader. He's a little loose in, a little tight in the center. Half a pound into the right front tire. Down on the wedge bolt as well. Jimmy Spencer, 4 tires as well. And Bill Elliott down off pit road to Matt Yoakum.
A 4-tire change for Jeff Gordon, the 24 car. He's down and away, but they've made 2 rounds of wedge in the right rear. They adjusted the right front fender a 1/4 of an inch. They also pulled out a right rear spring rubber, trying to help this loose condition on the 24 car today.
We've already talked about how hard it is to pass here at Indianapolis. Rusty Wallace needed track position, and he needed an adjustment on his car. He was tight. They went down a pound of air pressure in the right front. They went up a pound of air pressure in the right rear, and those were the only 2 tires they changed. Rusty picked up a bunch of spots.
Also Kevin Harvick and Ryan Newman, it looks like, have played a little pit strategy, taking just 2 tires to get out in front. We'll follow up with our reporters down on pit road on that. Looks like Dale Earnhardt Jr. has been into some contact on pit road. Wally, you talked about this earlier.
There you go, right there. And I'll tell you what, that did not help the 8 car whatsoever, because what he just did, he just crushed the left front corner in on that nose. Watch, give another hit. Earnhardt, you're not happy with that. Hit him. There you go. But see right here, that area right there, guys, that just hurt the downforce of that 8 car big time, and that's going to really hurt here.
Got some more action on pit road. Ken Schrader, Bobby Hamilton, crunch, bottom of the screen.
And Junior also made contact with that wall that you talked about, Wally. That was very, very close to pit road.
Yeah, when you're under yellow here, you can't get away from it. I mean, if you can get through a pit stop without somebody hitting somebody, it's amazing.
And you see 3 of the cars involved in the contact coming back to pit road right of the screen. Earnhardt Jr., Schrader, Hamilton. Got to come back in, make repairs. Dave Burns.
Alan, they are back in with Dale Jr.'s car, and we can see the damage on the left front side. Doesn't look like they're yet going to go to that until they take off the left front tire, perhaps. And now the team will jump in there and try to hammer that back out. Just a little pull and a tug, and they're going to take all 4 tires at this time and top him off with fuel. But they're pulling on it just to try to massage it to be as close as it was to the original configuration. And remember, he's taken this hit plus the one that he took when he was involved in the earlier wreck early on in the race. Let's go to Bill.
Well, they continue to work under the hood of Ricky Rudd's Texaco Haviland Ford. They've got a new water pump out. They've got belts all over the place screaming for socket wrenches. Remember, Rudd is one of the top 3 contenders in the race for the championship, coming in here second in Winston Cup points, but losing valuable time at the Brickyard, a race he so dearly wanted to repeat as a winner of. He also wants to continue that challenge for the championship, but he's losing laps and points on pit road. Matt.
Bill, Johnny Benson has made his way back to pit road. They lost a lot of time on their initial stop because they didn't get the lugs all on, so that took extra time. So then they figured they're already at the back. Let's bring the car back in, and we'll adjust. They're going to put a spring rubber in the right front. To Allen.
Ryan Newman is the new leader of the Brickyard 400. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. Indianapolis Motor Speedway, courtesy of the United States Army, an army of 1. Set to go back racing in the Brickyard 400 as the field completes 25 of the 160 laps that make up the distance. The first 2 cars in the picture just took 2 tires in the pit stop. The 02 is Ryan Newman. The 29 is Kevin Harvick.
Another 99 car, Jeff Burton. Also another car that just changed 2 tires. Trying to get track position, trying to get up front. And Harvick goes for the lead in that 29 car.
Bakersfield, California's Kevin Harvick leads the Brickyard 400. His first attempt at this race. This is the car the late Dale Earnhardt drove for many years. Harvick taking over after the tragic accident that claimed Earnhardt's life in February's Daytona 500.
And Ryan Newman, the 02 car, a young man, this is his first Brickyard 400. Grew up in South Bend, Indiana.
Marty Snyder has more on Ryan Newman's race.
Well, it's been a good day so far, even though he just lost the lead to Kevin Harvick. Last time when they came in, Alan, they indeed did take 2 tires. They were a little bit tight. They took 1 round of wedge out. On the radio, Ryan Newman hears the voice of Roger Penske, his car owner, who is preaching patience on the radio and also reiterating today's goal. It is simply experience. Don't worry about if you're leading. Don't worry about if you're running 5th or 10th. Just get some experience, because we're going to storm into this Winston Cup Series next year and take over.
Tell you what, I'd like to hang around with that 02 pit crew, because they're young guys and they very cocky. They tell you how good they're going to do it.
They told you how good they're going to do it, didn't they?
Yes, they did. And I said, if you do, you'll get paid.
By you.
By me. But
look out.
Ryan, careful, the wall out there. He hit that wall on Saturday morning in qualifying, and I truly believe there's Tony Stewart inside Jimmy Spencer, the pole sitter. That's 4th spot. Jimmy Spencer now this morning, we're looking at the intervals, the speed through the turns down the straightaway here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and both of us agreed if Ryan Newman had not brushed the wall off turn 4, he would have been on the pole for the Brickyard 400.
There's Ricky Rudd, who came back onto the racetrack 2 laps down after his crew attempted repairs. Obviously, things are still not right with his Ford. Got a lot of drivers running the Brickyard 400 for the first time today. You see the 2 highlighted in yellow. Those are in 1st and 2nd place in the race. Bill Weber has more on Ricky Rudd's problems. Bill?
Well, we're walking down the crowded pit road here at Indy with Michael McSwain, the crew chief for Ricky Rudd. He's talking to his driver. Rudd will have to go back to the garage. The car is overheating. Michael, he's talking to him right now and calling out the shots. How bad is it, Michael? How bad is it?
We don't know till we start working on it. We got a cooling problem.
Okay, well, obviously it was a water pump problem. They did have the belt knocked off. They were also held for 15 seconds for too many men over the wall on pit road. That led to a very vigorous discussion between McSwain and the Winston Cup official down here. Not very happy, more disappointment really than anything else in the 28 pit.
And you know what? That's like adding injury to insult. I mean, you lost 2 laps. What's 15 seconds? I mean, I know rules are rules, but still, to me, it's like, hey, man, it's already had a bad day. Why don't you make it a little bit worse?
They did.
You've never been a referee before, have you?
No, I would make a good one.
No, I don't think so.
I see Sterling Marlin, that 40 car, creeping closer and closer to that 2nd place car. Ryan Newman, Sterling Marlin in another Dodge.
Sterling driving for Chip Ganassi, the winning car owner of the 2000 Indianapolis 500 here.
See, right now the NASCAR folks are just tickled pink. They're proud as a peacock because they've got a Chevrolet, a Ford, a Dodge, and a Pontiac running 1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, they better take a picture, because I don't think it's going to last that for too long. The Dodgers are looking really good right now.
Remember?
See, go ahead. See how the Sterling? Underneath that Ford, and I'm telling people, that's so important here in Indianapolis, is to drive underneath the guy getting off the corner. That is a key to pass people here, because once you get to the next corner, really, if you're on the inside, that's where you want to be, because the guy on the outside just doesn't have the grip out there.
Newman's hanging with him.
Now, if they come off side by side here, really, whoever that 20 car goes with, that's really important, but Sterling made the pass.
Clear.
And here comes Stewart underneath Ryan Newman. Sterling Marlin to 2nd spot. Tony Stewart to 3rd. Jimmy Spencer will try and follow him through in the 26. And the point I was just going to make before, Wally, was that Newman only got 2 tires on his pit stop. Marlin and Stewart and Spencer got 4, so they have better traction now that we've run several laps since the restart.
Absolutely, and normally it's always that way. 4 tires are going to be better. It's going to give you more traction. This racetrack is what we call very weather sensitive, and this track, when it gets hot, the hotter this racetrack gets, the less grip you have in your race car. So I think 4 tires is always better, except the last pit stop. If you need those 2 tires for track position, then you go for it.
Well, every driver wants 4 tires.
That's right.
Never change 2 tires, except these young guys. See, Harvick and Ryan Newman, young guys, they don't know. They'll do whatever the crew tells them to do.
We're coming up on the 1/4 point of the 8th Brickyard 400 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Kevin Harvick is the leader. Motor Speedway, we are under caution in the Brickyard 400 for an incident involving Ryan Newman. We'll show it to you in a moment. Here's our NASCAR Busch Series update. Kevin Harvick last night at Indianapolis Raceway Park, a half-mile track across town from here, stormed from 14th to win in the final laps. The 200-lapper there, and a day later, he's leading here at the big track.
Makes no difference to him. Half-mile racetrack, 2.5-mile racetrack, they're all the same.
Now, here's what happened to Ryan Newman to put us under caution. He just lost 3rd spot to Tony Stewart in the orange car.
Yep, got underneath the O2 car. He probably started getting a little bit tight, that aero push, and got into the O2 car, but the O2 car obviously got the worst of it. And, you know, Jimmy, you got a good race car. Mellow out, buddy, because I'll tell you what, you don't forget, but there's 43 other guys here that don't forget either.
That's Jimmy Spencer in the 26 you're talking about.
There we see just that little bit of contact right there. 02 car has to chase it up the hill to try to save it. Right rear goes in, and then he hits the wall with the right front. And that's the one that really did the damage, that blow to the right front.
And a look back from Tony Stewart's car. End of productive day anyway for Ryan Newman. Marty?
Well, that was part of the patience that they were preaching on the radio to Ryan Newman. Watch out, other guys around you. They do think that Jimmy Spencer hit him. While he is right, they thought the right front shock was broken. Maybe the right front lower control arm was broken. Both of those are okay. This is how hard he hit. Look at this tire. This is the right front tire. That's paint from the wall at Indianapolis. He hit a ton, and he did hit very hard. A lot of right rear damage for Ryan Newman. Let's go to Bill Weber.
And we're on Pit Hook Road here with car owner Robert Yates. He's just returned to pit road after being back in the garage looking at Ricky Rudd. Of course, he owns the 28 and the 88. How bad is Rudd's car, Robert?
I mean, they've got the full engine apart. It's threw the belts off. It's not really a mechanical change. It's not anything new, but we threw a belt, rolled a belt. They're like they're stretching, and maybe we should have paid more attention and gone to a different setup, but I'm worried about the 88, so I'm getting some stuff here for the 88 here.
So you think there might have been a way you could have prevented this from happening?
Well, if we went back to the old 2-belt system, but, I mean, we've been running this for 2 years, and but their belts all of a sudden started stretching, so we got a problem.
It's hard to win these championships, isn't it?
You know, there's a lot of people, a lot of parts that go in these vehicles, and you have to rely on a lot of cross-checking and have a little luck, too.
All right, he hustled back out here to pit road with the belts he has in his hand, was talking to Todd Parrott and Dale Jarrett on the radio, updating them on the condition of Rudd's car, exactly what happened there, and to be prepared in case it happens to the 88.
Robert's having a Maalox moment.
Yes, he is, and he's talking that the belts are stretchy. So, I mean, I can't imagine what is causing that problem unless it's a problem from the manufacturer of the belts.
Here's an update on the Coca-Cola Racing family of drivers. Having a pretty good day so far. John Andretti particularly started back in 30th in Richard Petty's Dodge, and he's up to 12th. Of course, the Andretti name so synonymous with Indianapolis. His uncle Mario, winner of the Indy 500 in 1969.
More of the Coca-Cola Racing family, and we're just about ready to go green here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Flag, green, green.
Dave Blaney's in the wall on the front stretch on the restart. Caution's back out. There is oil all over the front straightaway. Drivers need to be careful when they come back around to the caution flag.
Looks like they have reduced their speed dramatically. All the spotters around the racetrack and their crew chiefs have told the drivers, look, there's oil all over the speedway. Do not hit the oil. When these race cars hit those oil slicks, no control whatsoever. It's almost like hitting ice.
And it'd be pretty embarrassing to crash under yellow.
But it's been done by many, many.
Have you done that?
Oh, certainly.
That's why he threw in the many, many.
You see the streak of oil running all the way down the inside of the front straightaway. The drivers being careful of that as they come back around to the caution flag.
Hey, Wally.
Yes.
A guy named Sneva did it here before the green flag, didn't he?
Yes, yes. Well, he didn't hit the yellow, but he did crash on the pace lap.
That's right.
And I'm sure he appreciates you bring that up.
Well, you prompted me on that earlier in the weekend, reminding me of all the dangerous things that can happen here. You know how tight pit road is and things like that. So if I see Tom, I'll pass him along your number.
Ohio's Dave Blaney behind the wall. Let's take a look at what happened on the restart. This is looking down from turn 4.
See, I saw these cars jump out on the restart from the other angle, but we didn't finish what happened. And, you know, it looks like somebody missed a shift or something, but he got in the back of somebody.
Yeah, somebody didn't go, and he was on the gas and got him.
And that's what happens on these restarts. You're so close to the guy in front of you. When you make a restart and you're jamming gears, if the guy in front of you misses a shift, you don't have time to do anything.
Under caution for the 4th time in the Brickyard 400. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.
Well, the Brickyard's there to crucify anyone who even under. And I sat down and gasoline at the end.
When they pitted, they made a track bar adjustment, went down one round, and put one round of wedge into the 24 car trying to fix this ill-handling race car, but it's certainly been a big day of struggle for the 2-time Brickyard 400 winner. To Alan Bestwick.
Have to put a lot of oil dry down and sweep it up on this front straightaway before we can go green, so we'll take a break and come back for the restart.
Step Up by Kellogg's, the official breakfast food of NASCAR. By Circuit City, we know how you feel. That's why we're here. Circuit City, we're with you. And by Pep Boys, all you need to know is where to go. Pep Boys.
Log on to NBCSports.com for the latest NASCAR news and results. You can email BP your questions and check out his latest mailbag, which includes close-up looks at Dale Earnhardt Jr., Bobby and Terry Labonte, and Bill Elliott. It's all at NBCSports.com. 2 cars to the garage, Casey Atwood and Dave Blaney's to Marty Snyder.
And a lot of damage, Alan, to the Amoco Dodge of Dave Blaney's. And Dave, what happened on the restart?
I don't know. They just all stacked up, and I run right in the back of the 21. I don't know. Stupid move on my part. I don't know.
Well, it takes a big man to admit that he made a mistake. This car is covered from top to bottom in oil. A lot of damage. I do not think they will make it back into the race today. Let's go to Dave Burns.
Well, I'm standing by with Mike Berry, who's the right front tire carrier for Jeff Green today. But last night, he was the right front tire carrier for Kevin Harvick, who won at Indianapolis Raceway Park. And you'd think to the victor go the spoils, all the glory and everything. But, Mike, what happened to the van that all your clothes and credentials were in?
We're not sure if it's stolen, misplaced. We don't know where it is. They don't know where it is. We don't.
And when you went to argue with the authorities about where it might be, what did you find out? That they weren't listening to you for a very good reason, were they?
I couldn't understand you. Say that again.
Victory Lane had a lot of beer splashing in it, didn't it? You guys didn't present a very good case to the authorities, did you?
No, I don't think we smelled too pretty when the cops showed up, so hopefully we made it through all right.
All right, these guys did get some clothes to borrow from their teammates, and now they're in their race uniforms. They're in good shape.
Thanks, Dave. Back under green, just past 100 miles. In the Brickyard 400, Kevin Harvick is leading in the 29 car. Sterling Marlin is second. They're 4 deep, back about 30th in line.
Jeff Gordon amongst that group as he tries to get on the inside of Terry Labonte. Jeff Green, the 30 car. We just talked to his tire carrier. Dale Earnhardt Jr., Ron Hornaday trying to get by Buckshot Jones. The green car is Hornaday. The blue 44, Buckshot Jones.
The 5 car, Terry Labonte, is in 22nd position. Jeff Gordon's in 23rd, and then on back behind them. Here's Kurt Busch after 15th spot on Joe Nemechek. Busch in the 97. Farther back, Hud Strickland, Johnny Benson, and Terry Labonte getting by Robbie Gordon in the 31. Almost said Mike Skinner. Gordon subbing for Skinner, who was injured in a crash at the Chicagoland racetrack a couple of weeks ago.
And you know, Hut was in that deal with Earnhardt Jr. I don't think Hut's car is probably going to be hurt so bad because he got hit in the door. And that's not really as important as those front fenders.
We mentioned Casey Atwood went to the garage a little while ago. Marty has an update on his car.
And guys, such high hopes for them coming into the day. They obviously qualified up in the 3rd position. He made some contact on the racetrack with Dale Jarrett, the man who's 3rd in the Winston Cup points. They have some damage to the front end. The damage is actually not that bad. The reason they had to come in is because the water temperature started to go up. They're going to replace the radiator, but they think they may have already damaged the engine. They're going to try it and see if the engine will live for a while. Big disappointment after such high hopes coming in for Casey Atwood.
Atwood started in 3rd position. He, along with Dave Blaney, Ricky Rudd, Matt Kenseth, and Andy Houston, are all in the garage. Jeff Gordon picking up a couple of spots.
And Junior in the 8 car is tagging on to Jeff Gordon. He said, look, this guy's won the Brickyard 400 twice. He must know something. He must, well, if he knew too much, he wouldn't be back in 20th spot. But oh, Junior gets Jeff Gordon up very, very loose.
Side, clear behind him. All clear.
Check our telemetry and on Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jeff Gordon, Terry Labonte. You can see all these fellas are over 9 seconds behind the leader, Kevin Harvick.
And the harder they have to race in this traffic, the farther behind they're going to get while Harvick's out in front with clear sailing. Here's a challenge for the lead. Sterling Marlin is after Kevin Harvick.
And look who's back in 3rd spot. Tony Stewart, that 20 car. 3 wide.
Oh, look out.
And what happened there was, when they were running side by side, which is where you're real vulnerable when you're down on the inside like Sterling was, when the 20 car came up and took the air off the rear spoiler of the 40, and he had to get out of it because it got him loose.
So Harvick hangs on to the lead. Change behind him, Ward Burton in the 22, the big cat car coming at you, getting around Bill Elliott. That'll be for 5th spot. Marlin's going to try again. This time he's through.
Tony Stewart has a great run as well. Harvick just backs off and just squeezes in that hole between Jimmy Spencer and Tony Stewart.
Huge round of applause from the partisan Indiana fans for their hometown hero, Tony Stewart, as he goes to 2nd spot. Tony worked with Benny and I on last night's NASCAR Busch Series broadcast from Indianapolis Raceway Park. When we got to the end of the night, he looked and pointed straight at the camera and said, Winston Cup drivers, if you're watching, I'm coming after you tomorrow.
And he was correct.
Yes, sir. Let's go back and take a look. Here's what Tony Stewart had to say at the close of our show last night. Turn our attention to tomorrow's running of the Brickyard 400 at the other Indy track. Mr. Stewart, starting 9th. What do you think?
Really excited. I think our Home Depot Pontiac's a very fast race car right now. I hope all the Cup guys are watching right now because I'm coming after you tomorrow.
Oh.
He's after you tomorrow.
You heard it.
And, you know, Benny, I tried to explain this to Mr. Parsons early in the week, and he said I was full of it. But there are some guys in this garage area that this is the place. And we've been brought up around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And if I had to pick one place to win, this is the place I want my win.
Oh, and Tony Stewart as well. Growing up down in Columbus, Indiana, this is by far the place he'd love to have a victory. He'd like to win the Indianapolis 500, but this would be second choice.
See 4 drivers who are Indiana-based or consider Indiana their homes. Most of them all now live in the Charlotte area, but this is where they're from, all involved in this Brickyard 400.
And Tony Stewart getting closer and closer, and there's that piece of tape, I hope.
It's not a banana peel.
Tony's getting closer and closer to Sterling Marlin. Oh. I know we've got a long ways to go. We're just
past 100 miles.
You know what? Tony's going to see if he can do it. I mean, he's going to see if this aero push thing is really going to affect his car. He's got to get his car right now for when he does want to make that pass later in the race if he has to. He's going to want to lead this thing. He's going for it.
Harvick falling back from these two. Remember, he only got 2 tires on the last pit stop they made. We get more on Tony Stewart's race from Marty Snyder.
And Wally, what Tony's been able to do all weekend long is drive in lower than anybody else here. In fact, they've driven in so low every time in the corners here that they have had to replace the skirt on the bottom of the valence 4 times this weekend because he goes in the corners so low that that skirt hits the ruffle strips. You see how low he is, a little bit lower than Sterling Marlin, and that's where they think their advantage is going to be later in the race, getting that little bit lower line, more air on the nose. They think they can pass cars a little easier.
And you know what, believe it or not, there's a lot of grip down here. Watch in the left front. You go over that white line. There's a lot of grip in the racetrack right there. If you can get your car to do that, you're going to carry more speed off that next turn.
If you can just hit that line, if you can get that left front down right to that rumble strip, yes, there is grip. But if you miss it, then you lose the grip.
You saw a minute ago Ward Burton making a pass on Jimmy Spencer to pick up 4th spot. Continuing to move forward. Excuse me, that was Kevin Harvick. He passed for 3rd. Sterling Marlin is the leader of the 8th running of the Brickyard 400 in Indianapolis. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.
I'll see better days. I
Glen. Saturday 2 Eastern Busch North Series racing. Sunday 12:30 Eastern Subway presents Winston Cup racing from Watkins Glen. Last year Jeff Gordon and Tony Stewart banged door to door as their rivalry began. What'll happen now as the race for the NASCAR Championship continues next weekend on NBC?
Sterling Marlin and Tony Stewart hold the top 2 spots in the Brickyard 400 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. They're up by 2.2 seconds on Ward Burton. Here's our Napa Field summary. Marlin, Bill Elliott, Ryan Newman, Jimmy Spencer, and Kevin Harvick have taken turns leading. 4 caution flags. Had a crash at lap 3 involving 4 cars. Mark Martin was one of them. Ryan Newman, Dave Blaney have been involved in incidents bringing out the caution. The only cars out of the event officially are Andy Houston and Matt Kenseth, who were involved in the lap 3 crash.
We'll talk about the aero push I was talking to you guys about. The best thing that the 20 car can do right now, he's about 2-3 car lengths behind the 40 to get air on the nose. He can drop down lower. He's getting the air on that left front corner. That's helping his car turn up off the corner. If he gets right behind the guy going in the corner, the car won't turn. So that's why he's backed off probably 3 or 4 car lengths to get that air on the nose. But when he makes a run, what he'll do is he'll run up on that 40 car, drop that car down a little bit lower, and that should plant that left front tire better, make the car turn better getting off the corner.
Marty?
Well, Wally, I hated to admit it in happy hour, and I hate to admit it now, but you're right. That's exactly what Tony Stewart is doing. He said he's got good forward bite. But right now, he said he's just going to follow Sterling for a while because he can't quite get the run that he wants. So he's just going to lay right there, follow him for right now. On the radio, Tony Glover is telling Sterling Marlin, you've got to want this race more than anyone else out there. Keep Stewart behind you.
How bad do you want it, Sterling? How bad do you want it, Tony? We'll find out. Bill Elliott trying to take over the position from Jimmy Spencer. Moves Bill Elliott into 5th.
We're going to be coming up on some pit stops for some of these lead cars. Sterling Marlin and Tony Stewart have not been on pit road since lap number 22. So somewhere lap 59 to lap 62, those guys are going to have to come on pit road under the green and make a stop.
See some damage to the back of the 88 car. I think that's who the 19 car ran into, Casey Atwood, and I don't think that's hurt anything, but nevertheless,
it's not helping.
It's not helping, that's right.
Dale Jarrett, 7th spot.
If it helped, that's the way the car would look from the factory, but it didn't look that way.
Jarrett lost a couple of positions in the opening 2 laps before that first crash. It's not really gone anywhere since. And that's not helping. Steve Park is the next car in line behind Jarrett. His name on a lot of tongues in the garage area this morning as a potential winner here today.
Yes. See DJ down on those rumble strips like Marty was talking about Tony Stewart being down there and talking about changing those front strips, that black strips on the bottom, on the front bumper. The guy told me that was the 6th one they've had on the 88 car this week. Every time they go on the racetrack, the car was sinking down the racetrack so low, it would grind that rubber strip off, and before the race, they would once again put in a brand new one on the 88 car.
And it's not good that you grind that away. When you grind those things away, it takes the downforce away from the nose.
Ricky Rudd with problems earlier. His car throwing some belts, causing some engine problems. He's in the garage, not retired from the event. They're still working on it. In the meantime, Jarrett and Gordon are out on the speedway making laps.
Bill Elliott got by Jimmy Spencer a couple of laps ago. Now he's moved up on the back of Kevin Harvick. Trying to work on him.
4th and 5th place there. Harvick in the white car and Elliott in the red number 9.
Talking to Ray Evernham this week, he was so proud of the job that Bill Elliott did last week at Pocono.
Yeah.
He said that old guy got up on top of that steering wheel last Sunday and really tried his best to win the race. Here he comes on the inside of Harvick.
Elliott had a 4th place finish in that race a week ago today at Pocono.
Harvick's got a little bit of damage here, it looks like, on the left rear bumper.
And Dale Jarrett under Jimmy Spencer, 6th spot. Now, if you're Todd Parrott, Dale Jarrett's crew chief, when you come down pit road for a green flag stop, do you take the time to fix that little bowed out fender, or you're running good enough you let it go?
I would not fix it. I don't think that's really causing him any problems right there.
Dale Jarrett trying to win his 2nd NASCAR Winston Cup Series championship. Races who have finished lower than 40th. Dale Jarrett's got too many of them. Can't win a championship if you're finishing 40th or lower in a race.
No, you need to be up in the top 10, and that's what these guys always, they talk about consistency. That's what they're talking about. Top 10s. Bill Elliott on the inside of Harvick. And that two-tire stop that Harvick made is really starting to show up.
Elliott to 4th. Harvick back to 5th. Coming up on pit stops for some of the leaders in the Brickyard 400. We'll take a break and come back to cover them for you. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. 400 at Indianapolis. It's Sterling Marlin and Tony Stewart in the 1st and 2nd spots. Kevin Harvick just behind them has just come off the pit road from a green flag stop. Now Dale Jarrett and Bill Elliott are both in for service.
It looked like Tony Stewart was going to make a pit stop this time. He was waving frankly. Marty.
And Denny Dale Jarrett is in. They're wheeling around to the left side right now. He came in running in the 5th position. Their car has been pretty good all day long. A little bit tight. They make an air pressure adjustment and 4 tires to Matt Yoakum.
Jeremy Mayfield is down and away. They closed up the rear stagger because his car was loose, especially when someone was up behind him. On the radio, he and Rusty Wallace communicated together that they would pit together.
And they have.
And here comes Tony Stewart down pit road for tires and fuel. Let's go, Marty.
And Tony Stewart is in, Benny. He's been having a terrific run. He told the guys on the radio, we've got a great car. Don't get discouraged because I'm not going to show what we have yet. 4 tires and no adjustments for the Indiana native Tony Stewart, who desperately wants to win here at the Brickyard 400. Let's go to Bill Weber.
4 tires and fuel for the swift Dodge of Ward Burton. Just before he pitted, he said, I've got a bad vibration. We'll check the tires. Hopefully this set will improve that condition. Ward had moved up to 3rd before making the pit stop. Dave Burns.
John Andretti leaves pit road after making a 4-tire stop. He was just a tick loose. They made an air pressure adjustment to try to tighten him up here. And that's a good thing here because guys are always fighting tight, and John had it just a bit loose.
Leaders in. Sterling Marlin at lap number 63. Steve Park takes over the lead. Marty Snyder covers Marlin's stop.
And Sterling did not say a word that entire run. He was sliding the nose just a little bit in the corner, but they're very happy with the race car. They put some water in the window. He pushes it away. Sterling feeling very good inside the car. They obviously have a great chance to win, and this team and Sterling have not won in a long time, since 1995. 4 tires, no adjustments for the leader, Sterling Marlin.
We saw Tony Stewart make a 14.8. Now as we watch Sterling come out of the pits, where is Tony Stewart going to be in the picture? Is he going to be in front of Sterling, or is he going to be behind? There goes Tony Stewart. There's Sterling back on pit road. It looks to me like Tony Stewart is going to win that race off pit road.
By a bunch.
Well, and the pit stops were close. Where Tony Stewart made his time up was slowing down to get into the pit and then going up through the gears when he left pit lane. That's where he made up his time.
Steve Park took over the lead when Marlin pitted. Now Park is on the pit road. Kurt Busch moves to the top spot. As we cycle through green flag stops, here's Marty to cover Park's pit stop.
It's been a pretty good run for Park. He comes in here as the leader of the car, just a little bit tight. They'll make a wedge adjustment, but they are fairly happy with the car. 1 round down on the right rear wedge bolt for Steve Park. It will be a 4-tire change, and other than that, no adjustments.
15.7.
4100. Good. No problem. No pressure.
4,100 RPMs on the tachometer. No speedometers in these cars, just tachometers. 4,100 in second. That was the pit road speed. Here was our leader, Kurt Busch, coming down the pit road to Dave Burns.
Jack Roush's rookie, Kurt Busch, comes in, gives up the lead. They're going to change 4 tires and make no adjustment. The team says the car is perfect, and Kurt so far has driven a great race out there.
Kurt started back in 34th. He had moved up to the 14th spot before the stops.
16.7, not bad.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. is now the leader. He hasn't come down pit road yet. There's Jr. It's Earnhardt Jr., Bobby Labonte, Jeff Burton, Jeff Gordon, Johnny Benson. Then Terry Labonte, Jerry Nadeau, Jeff Green, Todd Bodine, and Ron Hornaday. Those who were leading that have stopped. Tony Stewart and Sterling Marlin are now back in 20th and 21st positions. Remember, we've got kind of an out-of-kilter sequence of pit stops. Marlin and Stewart had stayed on the racetrack under a couple of subsequent cautions. So these guys like Junior now, they could probably run another 11, 12 laps farther before they'll have to stop. Critical for Marlin and Stewart that the caution doesn't come out before then. Well, actually, it's probably not that big a deal because they stayed on the lead lap.
Yeah, that's right. And they would not mind at all if the caution flag came out because they would probably stay on pit road, just assume the lead when all these other cars made their pit stops.
So Dale Earnhardt Jr., who's had a somewhat adventurous day, started back in 36th position. We saw the contact earlier he had on pit road when he made an early stop. He and Hut Strickland got together, damaged the left front fender on his Chevy. And now through the cycle of stops, he finds himself leading the Brickyard 400.
And 4 or 5 laps ago, we saw a shot of Dale Earnhardt Jr., and right behind him was Bobby Labonte in the 18 car. And now we look back, and Labonte has lost about 100 yards. So Jr. right now a little faster than Bobby Labonte. Last year's winner of the Brickyard 400, I might add, talking about Bobby Labonte.
difference fresh tires can make. Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s last lap time was a 55.2 second lap. Tony Stewart on fresh tires, 54.6, so a half a second a lap. How much longer can Junior and those guys afford to stay out before they get fresh tires and give up that kind of time to the leader?
Well, that's the problem. They're making up a lot of track time right now, and you still have to come in to make a pit stop. But it depends on the fuel mileage.
And, as bad as Dale Earnhardt Incorporated's fuel mileage was at Pocono back in June, they've worked very hard on it, and now it's about as good as anyone else.
Dave Burns, what's up with Junior's crew and their pit strategy?
Alan, they think that they can go about another 4 laps before they have to come in and change those tires, and so that's what they're planning on doing unless they get a caution earlier. Right now, Junior says the car is real good. He doesn't want any changes on it. He says he's just a little bit loose when he's running by himself, but when he's in a pack of cars, it turns very, very well. And that's especially good news because of all the damage they repaired. His aero situation is very good. So Junior coming in about 4 laps now.
The driver who started the race in 3rd position, Casey Atwood, his car has just been retired from the Brickyard 400. Overheating problems have damaged the engine. Remember, we saw the nose all caved in. They were working on it back in the garage for a while. They've given up the ghost.
But Bill Weber said that was the youngest driver to ever start at Brickyard 400. Imagine when Casey comes back next year, just how badly he's going to want to win the Brickyard 400. There we see Kevin Harvick on the inside of Robert Presley.
Casey Atwood's teammate Bill Elliott chasing Jimmy Spencer.
Now, this is the picture we've seen all day. Talking about Jimmy Spencer, the 26, and Bill Elliott. Seems like every time we look up, they're together.
And right now they're racing for 26th and 27th, though that's pending the rest of these pit stops. Jeff Gordon's one of the guys who hasn't stopped yet. Matt, what's going on with them?
Right now, Alan, they're just waiting to about lap 72 to 73. Then they will make their scheduled pit stop. Remember, they pitted off sequence on lap 33, so they have gone a little farther than the other contenders.
You know what, really a scary thing, if Jeff Gordon can run to 74, they could make this on a couple more stops. This thing might turn into a fuel situation.
It's always a chance here at this race. This has been sort of an atypical Brickyard 400. We've had more caution flags than normal in the first part of this race. We're not quite to halfway yet, and we've already had 4 caution flags. We've gone races here where we've only had 2 and even 1 caution flag the whole 400 miles.
And I'm also surprised how many cars haven't made changes. These guys are happy with their cars, and that's real unusual here for Indianapolis.
Well, I don't think Jeff Gordon's happy, Wally. They're not really sure what to do to the car to make it better.
No, but I mean the 20 car and all those leaders, the 40 car, a bunch of those guys came in, they didn't change anything. Kurt Busch, don't change anything.
Jeff Burton just in front of Jeff Gordon, the 99 car. And they will now move up in positions as the leader pits. Dave Burns on Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Allen, he makes the hard left-hand turn to get into his pit stall. The last thing he said on the radio was pretty neutral. And so, they're not going to make any changes to the car. Very good news for them. This will put them maybe within a fuel window to do it on one more stop from here. A great and quick stop from Dale Earnhardt Jr. Let's go to Matt.
And the 10 car of Johnny Benson is in. This will be a 4-tire change. They were talking about on the radio making a wedge adjustment on the left side of the race car. Nothing yet, and Benson is down and away.
Michael Waltrip also on and off pit road with Benson as Johnny leaves.
Giving James Dean a ride today. See, Johnny Benson's car does not look normal.
Bobby Labonte is the new leader. Jeff Burton moves up to 2nd. Jeff Gordon moves up to 3rd.
Now, Jeff Gordon would love for Bobby Labonte to make a pit stop so he could lead the race and get 5 bonus points. Because Ricky Rudd has had trouble. Right now, I don't think the 88 car has led the race today.
No, sure hasn't. But Gordon is 3rd behind Labonte and Burton, and got to have enough fuel for those two to work. And Bobby Labonte, that 18 car, the green machine coming right at you, his team generally gets better fuel mileage, the Joe Gibbs owned team, than a lot of their competitors.
The 99 car is another team. Jack Roush cars get tremendous fuel mileage. I tell you, I would not be surprised if the Roush cars could not make it on one more stop. Jeff going in?
It looks like it, yep. I saw him move his hand, so telling the guys behind him he was coming in from the pits.
And Bobby Labonte pits at the same time. So Labonte and Gordon are in. Jeff Burton takes over the race lead.
It's going to be 4 tires. You need the ice.
Bill Leonard covers Bobby Labonte's stop for us.
Well, here comes the defending champ of the Brickyard 400 off the win last week at Pocono. The same car that he raced there. They made that decision in victory lane. They weren't going to bring it. It's going to be 4 tires and fuel for Bobby Labonte. Not expecting to see a chassis adjustment. Good run so far. Watch the fuel mileage. We go to Matt.
Jeff Gordon is down and away. It was a 4-tire change for the 2-time Brickyard 400 winner. He said his car was not as bad on entry. Remember, it was loose, but it was still very tight above the corner, so they adjusted with air pressure.
And Jeff Burton still holding the lead and has not yet come to pit road.
I'm telling you, Jeff Burton can make it on 2 more stops. The next one he's going to make, and 1 more if this thing should go green the rest of the way.
Yeah.
495, that's great.
And he ran 54.95. That's not bad.
See Jerry Nadeau coming off pit road to the inside of Jeff Burton there on that little access road inside turns 1 and 2. It was lap 33 when Jeff Burton last pitted. It's 42 laps, about to be 43 on this tank of fuel. That's except caution. Caution is coming out onto the speedway. There is debris that has just been dropped off a car in turn number 3. Yellow flag number 5 of the Brickyard 400.
And all these cars, there's a leader. Terry Labonte just barely. Here comes the 31 car. Robbie Gordon trying to beat Burt back to the line. Can't do it.
So there'll be 27 cars on the lead lap as we go under caution in the Brickyard 400. There it is. Piece of metal off of one of the cars. Can't have that at 180 miles an hour. Back in Indianapolis, the big debate. Do you stop once again under this caution? Do you stay out and protect your track position?
Tell you what, Jeff Gordon, Bobby Labonte, some of those cars that just pitted. There, Tony Stewart. He was headed for pit road and decided not to pit. But Sterling Marlin did come back in.
Gordon and Labonte stayed out. Most of the other front runners have come on to pit road for service. Stops with 84 laps to go. Dave Burns.
Rusty Wallace is in. Crew Chief Robert Pemberton said, let's come in now, put on 4 tires and take our lumps, get the fuel window up, and they also want to make another change. He was still a little bit loose. Let's go to Bill.
Great run so far for Jeff Burton. Has to watch out for Brett Bodine. They freed him up with air pressure and a track bar adjustment.
Kevin Harvick coming off pit road in front of Jeff Burton.
Here comes Sterling Marlin. Dale Jarrett's going to get out in front of him.
Ricky Craven, tied right. Jeff Green, Jimmy Spencer. Where's Bill Elliott? Oh, he's back there right around Jimmy Spencer.
Caution was a big help for Jeff Green. He was second when the yellow flew. That good pit stop. He just gained a lot of track position from where he was before all these pit stops began. So Tony Stewart's team decides to leave him out on the racetrack.
And I tell you what, that was a last-minute decision. We saw Tony Stewart going towards pit road, and at the last second decided not to.
Stewart will reassume the lead in the Brickyard 400 as we're 4 laps from halfway at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. At the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the 8th running of the Brickyard 400 is under caution for the 5th time. A piece of metal off of one of the cars on the back straightaway has brought the pace car out in front of the field. Here's Ron Hornaday driving the Conseco car as he wheels around in the field. That's AJ Foyt's machine, and you can log on now to NASCAR.com and check out the Conseco NASCAR Fantasy Challenge. Pick your own team of drivers and see how you match up against other fantasy teams. You might just win a replica of the number 14 Conseco Winston Cup Pontiac. Ron is running in 34th position. And he's just ahead of the leader, Tony Stewart. We're going to have one of those odd restart situations where the leader's back in traffic. We'll set it up for you when we come back to Indy after this.
Wrangler salutes the families of NASCAR. When Ned Jarrett retired from racing at the age of 35, he'd won 50 races and 2 Winston Cup championships. Ned didn't push his sons into racing, but one of his biggest thrills was calling Dale's victory at the 1993 Daytona 500.
Dale Jarrett's going to win the Daytona 500!
In 1999, the Jarrett family celebrated a second series champion, and now Dale's son Jason hopes to add a third generation of NASCAR stardom to the Jarrett legacy. For more on the Wrangler families of NASCAR, log on to NASCAR.com.
And welcome back to Indianapolis. All the Jarretts, a familiar face around this track and certainly around the NASCAR Winston Cup garage. Ned with his 2 championships, Dale with a championship back in 1999, and of course 2 wins here at the Brickyard 400. Currently running 9th on the racetrack, trying to become the first 3-time winner of the Brickyard 400. The field coming around to get the Green and Allen, one of those unique restarts.
Yeah, several cars stayed on the racetrack under the caution, setting them on the tail end of the lead lap. Ron Hornaday is the last of them. He's running back in 34th position. The leader, Tony Stewart, is well back in line. There's Stewart with a half a dozen cars that are on the lead lap in front of him.
And Steve Park going for the lead. He's on the inside of Tony Stewart.
Park in the yellow car.
And this is where you get in a situation where patient. Tony Stewart, Park, they want to get through these cars as quick as they can, but it gets really bottled up. And this is where you got to be really careful, where you get into a situation like we had last week at Pocono,
where Dale Jarrett got caught up in a wreck that started in front of him on a restart just like this. Michael Waltrip in the 33rd place as Park looks inside of Stewart for the race lead. He's got it in turn 4.
And somehow Tony Stewart gets down between Steve Park and Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Halfway through the Brickyard 400, 200 miles down. Look at Jeff Gordon down low on Dale Jr. and Kevin Harvick.
Uh-oh, something's got to give. Dale Jr. on the inside of Tony Stewart, trying to take over the second spot, and he will.
Stewart to 3rd, Jeff Gordon is 4th, Kevin Harvick is 5th.
Here comes Dale Jarrett on the inside, 3 wide.
The green car on the right of the frame, the 18, that's Bobby Labonte. He's in 6th. You've got Jason Leffler in the 01, the orange and black car on the inside lane. He's next in line on the lead lap, 7th. Then Dale Jarrett and Jeff Burton in the 88 and 99, racing for 8th and 9th. Here comes Jarrett to the bottom.
He turned her left and turned under Jason Leffler and the 14 car, Sterling Marlinfall. Here comes Jimmy Spencer. And all I can say is, boys, be careful.
Tense, anxious moments. Oh, Jason Leffler just about took the right side paint off that car.
He just touched the wall with the right side. Right side tires, I should say.
And what we're seeing here a little bit of, guys, are the fresher tires winning out. These are the guys that are charging through the traffic that stopped for tires under the caution.
Like I said earlier in the race, this is the time where you make up for the car sliding around. You got fresh tires, you got more grip than you're going to have on these tires from now on. Now's when you can force the issue a little bit more.
Sterling Marlin under his teammate Jason Leffler. That's 9th spot. Marlin in the 40, the silver car.
Jimmy Spencer's down underneath the 01 car on Jason Leffler.
I'm a little surprised the 20 didn't come in. There again, Benny, we always talk about the tire thing. Why not come in and put 4 tires on it? Everybody else behind you did.
Well, because he's got to stop twice more. If he had stopped then, evidently he had to stop twice more another time after that. Twice more after that. He could not make it on one more stop, so he decided to stay on the racetrack.
Ricky Craven chasing Jeff Burton for 11th spot. Burton in the 99, Craven in the 32. As Burton goes through Jason Leffler in the 01. That's for 9th. Let's find out what Tony Stewart's crew chief was thinking with that last call. Marty Snyder's with him.
Well, Zippy, a lot of cars behind you with fresh tires. Why didn't you come in?
Well, we only had 10 laps on our tires, and if I pitted, I still had to stop 2 more times. Now I still have to stop 2 more times. I didn't really want to give up all that track position. Our car's been pretty good in the long run. Hopefully it'll all wash out for us. We'll run up front here, and we'll just make our 2 stops and go on. I didn't want to make an extra stop and get caught behind, you know, be 10th, 15th, and take a chance of getting tore up there. I don't know if it's the right thing or the wrong thing, but we're just going to stick with the track position and not make an extra stop.
But he was right. They did it for track position, and they had to stop 2 more times anyway. To Matt Yoakum.
And Marty, Jeff Gordon has climbed up to the 4th position. Robbie, you've worked on that race car all day. Now is it dialed in or close to where that car needs to be?
It's a whole lot closer. That thing we started way off with it. You know, Jeff was really hollering at us there early, but that was Jeff Gordon at his best there in traffic just a minute ago, looking good.
Certainly was. Remember, Jeff Gordon has battled an aero disadvantage on the flat tracks this season to Bill Weber.
On top of the pit wagon with Frank Stoddard, the crew chief for Jeff Burton. Can you make it on 1 more stop?
It doesn't look it right now. We're going to need some help with a caution flag or something. We weren't able to get it full in that last stop there. The catch can was a little bit light, so we're really going to be probably about 2 laps short right now. But maybe with some cautions, you never know. It's a long way to go. I'm not counting on anything right now.
Okay, not gambling right now. Dave.
Greg Stedman jumped underneath the 43 car of John Andretti. Greg, what adjustment did you make there at the end?
Just a shock adjustment, you know, trying to get him a little bit better there. You know, that set of tires we put on under green didn't seem as good as we had anything all day, so we come and got 4 and tried to do a little bit of adjustment here to make it better.
All right, and you can make it on fuel now with 1 more stop?
Yeah.
Very good. They split their pit window in half by doing that, coming in laps, and they only lost 5 positions on the track.
John Andretti back in 23rd position.
And Frankie Stoddard said, Your Honor, I'm not lying. I'll tell you I'm not lying. But Frankie, you are lying. You can make it on 1 more stop.
Benny, I agree with you on that. It's not necessarily what he said, it's kind of how he said it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Crew chiefs would make bad people to play poker against because they can bluff with the best of them, especially when you put that TV camera on their face.
And I talked to Frankie this morning about fuel mileage, and he would not give me a direct answer. He danced all the way to downtown Indian back and never gave me a straight answer.
Ricky Rudd is back on track. You see him in the star car there, the 28 machine. He's 53 laps down after repairs to the engine of that Ford. Dave Blaney has also come back after repairs from his crash earlier. He is 43 laps down. Blaney showing in 39th position, Rudd in 41st. There's the leader, Steve Park. Up by 0.8 of a second on Dale Earnhardt Jr. with Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon, and Kevin Harvick making up the top 5.
You know what, Tony Stewart's running just as fast, if not a little bit faster than the leader, so good call, Greg.
There you go.
That's Hut Strickland in the 90 car that Tony Stewart is just about to drive under.
Remember, Dale Jr. started well deep in the field in 36th position. Stopping on a couple of cautions when most of the front runners didn't. Got him the extra fuel mileage that got him up in the running order. And when that last yellow flag came out, he was able to take advantage of the gained track position.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. underneath Stacy Compton.
Compton, the 30th place runner, was one of those who restarted on the tail end of the lead lap and is now a full lap down to the race leaders.
Our bubbles go on top of the 24 car of Jeff Gordon, 29, Kevin Harvick, and Dale Jarrett, the 88 car.
This is our NBC race chase. And these drivers running in 4th, 5th, and 6th positions.
They're running Indian file right now, if you didn't know that, Benny.
What is that?
That's what I was told the term and what happens when they run like that. It's called Indian file.
Instead of in a straight line?
Right, or drafting.
Or drafting.
Single file.
Single file, yeah.
You wouldn't be making fun of a particular member of our broadcast team, would you?
Yes, I would.
Okay, that's what I thought. See the relationship between Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt Jr. just at the bottom of your screen. Jr., the second place car. And here's Kevin Harvick.
While the 24 car, Jeff Gordon was trying to get by Robbie Gordon in 31. He got bogged down a little bit, and the 29 said, Zep, I'll go by both of you.
Old happy Harvick.
Tell you what, the 24 car is running a lot lower than it has been all day long, so they did improve that car a bunch.
Alan just called the 29 car Kevin Happy. That's his nickname. And you wonder why? Because he smiles all the time.
All the time. But with a season like he's having, it's no wonder. Steve Park and Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the Dale Earnhardt Incorporated Chevys lead the Brickyard 400 at Indy.
NBC's coverage of the NASCAR Winston Cup Brickyard 400 is brought to you by the Wide Track Grand Prix by Pontiac. Wider is better. By UPS, the official delivery company of NASCAR. We want to race the truck. People love the truck. By Wrangler, real, comfortable jeans. And by Budweiser, with the crisp, clean, refreshing taste you'll find in no other beer. This Bud's for you.
At the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, coming up on 250 miles into the Brickyard 400. You're looking at the race for 5th position. Dale Jarrett trying to hold off Kevin Harvick and Bobby Labonte. Jarrett has just moved through Harvick to take that spot from him. And Sterling Marlin tagging on the back of that group.
Find that rhythm nice and smooth.
There you go. Find that rhythm, DJ. Todd said, just be nice and smooth. You got the horse. Just be nice and smooth with it.
And because if you're not, Benny, like I said earlier, if you miss your mark just a little bit here and you got to get off the throttle, these guys are by you. This track is really, really tricky. It's a momentum racetrack, and you really got to keep your momentum up by hitting all your marks.
While Kevin Harvick chases Dale Jarrett, his teammate Robbie Gordon has just had some misfortune. Here in Indianapolis, Gordon in the 31 car subbing for Mike Skinner. This week is back in 32nd position. And he has altered the cosmetics of that machine.
Oh, the 92 car almost hits the wall. Here comes Robbie Gordon, and there we see. Looked almost identical to the 02 car of Ryan Newman in qualifying.
Looking ahead from Sterling Marlin's car.
That's what we call losing grip coming out the corner.
And again, Robbie Gordon back in 32nd position. He's one lap down to race leader Steve Park. Well, we got all kinds of things starting to set themselves up here. We've got some fuel drama playing out. We've got a good race for second going on at 2.
Tony Stewart on the outside. Dale Jr. on the inside. Put Stewart in second spot.
He just waving by?
Well,
I see the hand out the window.
I saw the hand at well now. Tony got a little bit loose right there. But they're pointing each other by, but then once the other guy gets by, he passes him back.
And that's where it ought to be.
While we were away in the break, these two did switch this position back and then forth again. And now this is the third swap between them.
And that's the best thing about the Brickyard 400. These guys race to win. I mean, I realize we talk about points, and they are important, but this race, they all want to win. They don't want a 5th place. They want to win.
And that's what makes this track so perfect for Tony Stewart, Benny, because as you know, it's a cliche, but for him, second place makes him the first loser. He will never settle for that.
Yeah, we heard from Tony in our pre-race show as he and Dale Jr. swapped that spot again. What's going on there?
What is up with that? Did Tony Stewart lose? Did something happen to the engine? Dave, what's going on?
Benny, they just talked on the radio about getting free in clean air for Dale Jr. You can let him go ahead of you, you can let him be behind you, but one way or the other, in order for the 8 car to run well, he has to have the clean air.
Yeah, but why would the 20 car let him go by and give him that clean air?
It's like,
unless he couldn't stand having Junior's car behind him aerodynamically, it was upsetting the handling on his car too much.
Yeah, but they're talking about the 8 car.
Yeah, but I mean, Tony Stewart just let him go.
Yeah.
I mean, he pulled over and let him go, right?
Yeah, and maybe if the 8 was behind him, it was getting Tony loose, and Tony just said, hey, go.
Yeah. He just couldn't stand. They tried it both ways, and Stewart couldn't stand to have that car close behind him. It was upsetting the back end of his car too much.
And that's what happened earlier. Tony got into turn 1, and he did get loose with the 8 car right behind him.
I'll bet you we're going to hear from Pit Road about this very subject momentarily. Marty?
Bingo, Alan. Yeah, you guys are exactly right. Tony said he's just a little bit loose in the middle, and when Junior's behind him, that makes him worse. It's what we call aero loose, and he can't get that air to the back of the spoiler, so he just let him go. So now right here in third, guys, again, they have a great car, and they still think they're going to win this race.
Of the top 5 cars last lap, without looking, who do you think was the fastest car the last lap?
Of the top 5? That one.
Jeff Gordon.
Really?
Yes.
Well, okay, there's Todd Bodine right in front of Steve. So
he's holding Steve up a little bit, but right now Jeff Gordon is coming to the front.
Pretty good day for Dale Earnhardt Incorporated. 1 and 2 for Park and Earnhardt Jr.
Guys are starting to put a little pressure on you now, but it still looks good.
As Park puts Todd Bodine a lap down, the 28th place runner. Marty has more on Steve Park for us.
Well, the car right now for Steve Park just a little bit loose, and these guys desperately need a top 10 finish. In their last 7 races, Alan, they have not had a top 10 finish. They've fallen from 13th to 7th in the point standing, and these are the first laps that Steve Park has ever led here. His best finish at the Brickyard is 13th. It's been an emotional year for Steve Park. He won in the 2nd race of the season at Rockingham, and statistics-wise, it hasn't been that bad of a season, but it's been an emotional roller coaster.
We're having the best season we've ever had in Winston Cup, and we've been extremely competitive and winning races, and we have 3 seconds, which could easily be sitting here talking about 4 wins. But I don't know, man. Something's missing, you know, and we know what it is, and I think I'll be thankful for when we get this year put behind us.
Track far down, you're going to be okay.
And again, the car very good for Steve Park right now. It's a little bit tight in, a little bit loose off, but they are very happy, and they have a big lead.
And, of course, what is missing for Steve Park is his team owner, Dale Earnhardt, who, as you know, was killed in the accident on the final lap of the Daytona 500. Park, his teammates, Dale Earnhardt Jr. and company having to carry on with the loss of their leader, and they've done so admirably.
Yes, they have. And a lot of folks have stepped up to the plate and are doing a tremendous job over there.
Tell you what kind of an influence Dale Earnhardt was, not just on his team, but on the sport in general. One of the sayings going around the garage area, anytime something's gone wrong for the sanctioning body this year, NASCAR, the sort of dark joke has been is because Dale Earnhardt wasn't there to tell him how to do it right. Look at this. Kurt Busch, Jimmy Spencer, left and right, now right and left.
Ward Burton, the 22 car. Ricky Craven, the tied ride.
This is from 9th place on down. All these cars lead lap machines.
And there's Jeff Burton back there, that 99 car.
Great run for Kurt Busch, Dave. He's up to the top 10.
Sure is, Alan. And remember, the Roush guys got together yesterday afternoon and made some major changes for the 97 car and the other Roush cars. It ran a whole lot better. And they have made no changes all day. And in the last stop, they changed 4 tires and again did not make any major changes at all to Kurt. He's very happy with the car.
Of the 4 Roush cars, Jeff Burton and Kurt Busch are both running in the top 13. Mark Martin and Matt Kenseth both damaged in a lap 3 crash. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. Wally Dallenbach Sr. raced in 13 Indy 500s, leaving Wally Jr. and all the Dallenbachs many memories of the Brickyard.
Sure, I'm glad I don't have baby pictures to be shown around.
Well, you probably do, and I will get a hold of them. Don't worry about that.
Of course, his would be in color, and mine would be in black and white.
With Benny Parsons and Wally Dallenbach Jr., Alan Bestwick at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where the 8th running of the Brickyard 400 is reaching some crucial moments. Steve Park is the race leader by
4 tires, next time.
there you go. I was just about to set up the fact that he's coming in very soon for a pit stop. He's up by 4.9 seconds on Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Got to stop twice more. Lap 104, he stops. Fuel, 4 tires. He's got to stop again about 145.
4100, second gear. Get all you can.
Get all you can.
And Stevie Reeves, the spotter, telling Steve, referring back to what we talked about earlier, Wally, about the entry and exit of the pits.
Right, you got to run to the pits as hard as you can, and you got to get to that line without speeding. So you got to run as far as you can, as fast as you can, get the car slowed down, then get to pit road speed. Same thing leaving. When you leave pit lane, you got to get up through the gears and up through speed as quick as you can.
Bobby Labonte trying to take 6th place from Kevin Harvick.
Clear pit in, clear pit out.
And the leader's in with 45 laps to go. 55 laps to go, excuse me. Marty Snyder covers Steve Park's pit stop.
And Steve Park is in. They are very happy with the car. They're going to make some minor adjustments. Park is a little tight in, but also a little bit loose off, and that's what's concerning them a little bit more. It's a loose off condition. So to fix that, they're going to go down 1 round on the track bar. They pull the tearaway off so Steve can see a little bit better. They have a huge lead, so it is critical that they get a very good pit stop here. They don't want to lose any of that time on the racetrack. Steve Park with 4 tires and the track bar adjustment, and they drop him a little bit longer on the left front. Tony Stewart is also in right now. He's a little bit loose from the center off. They made an air pressure adjustment on Tony Stewart's car as well.
Jason Leffler is also on and off pit road, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. has assumed the lead.
Now, sometimes when you hear a car being tight in and loose off, Benny, sometimes that's because you're turning the wheel going in. The car is tight, so you keep turning. When it catches up with you, that's when the car breaks loose. So it's going to be interesting to see if the one made the right decision there on that change.
When those front tires finally catch and start turning the other direction, it will snap the back end loose. You're exactly right, Wally. Junior. Junior got that arm out the window trying to get some air in to cool off a little bit.
Is that what he's doing, or is he signaling some cars around him that he may be coming to pit road?
That's air, baby. Give me some air.
Benny's right. This is a tough place to get any airflow inside these cars. And just by sticking your left hand out that window, you can't believe how much air that gets inside the car.
It is warm here in Indianapolis today. Temperatures expected to creep into the low 90s. And when you're inside one of these race cars with 1,500-degree exhaust gases running out the tailpipes right under the metal seat that you sit in,
it's hot.
How hot is it?
It is hot.
Yeah. And of course, athletes and heat being much in the news over the past week, with the death of Corey Stringer, the Minnesota Vikings NFL player, as well as the player for the Northwestern University football team. Something that's been a topic of discussion in the garage area through this week. Well, how did you get yourself hydrated and ready for a hot race?
Well, you really start drinking a lot of fluids Thursday or Friday before you get here, and you just keep drinking. Another thing that helps me is put an ice pack inside my uniform. That actually keeps your blood cool over your heart. All these guys have different things, but the biggest thing is to just keep drinking.
Looking at the interval between Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Jeff Gordon, the first and second place cars, the dots there, color-coded to indicate their relative position on the track.
And you see it's a little over 2.5 seconds. And there's Dale Jarrett right behind Jeff Gordon. Jeff Gordon, looks like he and Dale Earnhardt Jr. about the same speed right now.
Jeff Gordon has led the most laps in 6 of the last 8 races. These are the total laps led in the last 8. And look at the difference.
That's incredible.
4 times as many. 5 times as many as the second place guy. Oh, and DJ about missed that corner there.
You can just feel as these laps wind on, the tension starting to build a little bit more and a little bit more. Leaders in. Dale Earnhardt Jr. stopping with 52 laps to go. Dave Burns.
And Alan, that means that they cannot make it without stopping another time. Only about 40 laps on fuel. They had electrical gremlins earlier today, but Jack Mann and engine tuner Jeff Clark says they have gone away. They did not have to go to an ignition box that had less horsepower capability but more durability. Rather, they've had everything they want today. They beat out the fender early on, and now they've had another great pit stop.
And Tony Uri Jr., the front tire changer, is just livid because when they threw the right front tire up there, Dave, lug nuts fell off the wheel. He had to reach down, pick up a couple, and it slowed him down a couple of seconds.
But that was a very good recovery. He came around and got it done on the left side.
Johnny Benson's in. Matt?
And a wedge adjustment on the 10 car, Johnny Benson, Alan. They felt like they could have gone 8 more laps to about lap 117 or 118. He's down and away, a 4-tire change, but they were short pitting, knowing others will have to pit, so they're going to try to short pit for track position.
Short pit terms the crew chief's using for stopping sooner than you need to. Kevin Harvick is in. Marty?
Kevin Harvick last stopped on lap 76, Allen. At that stop, he took 2 tires. They have taken 2 tires twice today. It has worked very well both times. File that away for the last pit stop of the day. They will have to stop 2 more times at least, unless we get some caution flag laps, because they are going to be about 3 laps short from being able to make it on 1 more stop. It'll be a 4-tire stop this time for Kevin Harvick. He is a little bit tight. They make an air pressure adjustment and an attempt to loosen him up just a little bit, but it's been a terrific run for this rookie today here at Indianapolis in his first run in the Brickyard 400. 4-tire stop. Kevin Harvick's away.
Michael Waltrip is in. Robert Presley is on pit road as Harvick leaves. And the new leader is Jeff Gordon.
I wonder how many laps that Jeff Gordon can run on a tank of fuel.
Gordon leads. It is the 7th Brickyard 400 he has led. This is the 8th race, the only time Jeff Gordon did not lead in the history of Winston Cup competition in Indianapolis.
Plenty right now, but it doesn't give you much of an indication. Don't chance it too much.
Was last year.
He's talking to Robbie Loomis right now. That was Jeff Gordon talking to Robbie Loomis, and they're talking about what kind of changes they're going to make the next pit stop.
There's Bobby Labonte, defending Winston Cup and Brickyard 400 champion. Bill, he's running 3rd.
And the head engine builder for Joe Gibbs Racing, Mark Cronquist, has just had a conversation with Peter Jellin, the gas man. In fact, he's talking to Peter right now. And Derek Jennings, who's the catch can man. They're going to leave Bobby out to the very last possible lap and make this their final stop. But Cronquist has made it very clear. Make sure you get every ounce of fuel in the car. He told the jack man, leave it on the jack until the catch can man gives you the cue to leave. They're going to try and make it to lap 118 and then make it to victory lane. Let's go further down pit road to Marty.
And the 2-time Brickyard 400 winner, Dale Jarrett, is in. His car is a little bit tight, Bill. They're going to take 1 pound out of the right front. They have a very good car, however, and they think they have a contender to win the race. Todd Parrott on the radio preaching to Dale Jarrett in the last run. Find your rhythm. Very quick stop for the 88 bunch.
Ricky Craven is in. Bill Elliott, Jimmy Spencer also on the pit lane.
And the reason, going back to Bobby's pit stop.
Oh, Jeff Gordon. I wondered how many laps he could run. I don't think he can run 48 laps. He would have to.
That's the way. Matt Yoakum has Jeff Gordon's pit stop.
Benny, they felt like they could try to go 4 or 5 more laps, but they did not want a chance that they're going to take the conservative approach in short pit. No chassis adjustments for Gordon, just 4 tires. He said his car has gotten better, but the car is a little bit tight off the corner still, and he's down and away.
Remember last week this team had to take the conservative approach on fuel, and it cost them a chance to win.
And it just might today, because this is one place racing for a championship. I say points, they're not racing for points, but here's one place you cannot afford to run out of gasoline.
Ward Burton has just been on and off pit road, and here's the new leader of the Brickyard 400, Bobby Labonte, out in front of Sterling Marlin by that interval. It's an even 1 second on the stopwatch. There's Labonte. There's Marlin.
And every lap that these guys can run tells me they're going to gamble on 1 more stop. Bobby Labonte, Sterling Marlin, Kurt Busch back in 3rd place.
Jerry Nadeau and Todd Bodine have both made green flag pit stops. Robbie Gordon has been on and off pit road also.
Jeff Burton back in 4th place. Another car I think is going to gamble on one more stop.
Got 46 laps to go, Benny. How far do they need to go before they can make it?
I think that some of these cars can run 43, maybe 44 laps.
And of course, all of this we're setting up is if we have no caution flag from now to the finish. Marty Snyder, how about Sterling Marlin? What are they saying?
Well, you guys are exactly right in terms of Sterling Marlin. They're going to try to win this race on fuel. They're going to leave him out for about 4 more laps, and they're going to stretch this as far as they can. I asked Lee McCall about 15 minutes ago, his crew chief, can you make it on one stop? He said it's going to be awfully close. We're going to find out if we're going to gamble or not, and they've already rolled the dice. They're going to gamble and try to win this thing on fuel mileage.
You just got to be careful right now not to run out of gas now, because if you miss pit lane and you run out of gas, you're done. You're not going to make it back.
We saw Dale Jarrett do that, in 1998, run out of fuel just as he went past the entrance to pit road and could not coast back.
This is the time the fuel pressure gauge, that's the only time us drivers look at it, is right now, because we're watching that thing. If that gauge starts fluctuating and that needle starts dropping, I'm telling my crew chief, hey buddy, we're out of gas, or we're getting close to be out of gas, I need to get in.
But you better hope you're not here on the track when that thing starts fluctuating, because you'll never make it back, like Benny was saying before.
And Sterling Marlin goes fleet. Bobby Labonte moved over. Bill Weber, what's going on?
He may be out of gas, Benny.
Oh, no.
May be out of gas. He said it stumbled right here on the front stretch, right where Willie said it can't happen. They urged him to shake the car back and forth to see if he can get back. Looks like he's still up to speed. Still got a little fuel, but you can see him dropping back.
He'll make it from here, though. He's okay. He's still running here. He'll make it to the pits, but he's going to lose a lot of ground.
Absolutely.
But that's going to slow Kurt Busch, the 97 car, back in this, trying to go to the 2nd spot right now. And Labonte needs to get the inside, and Kurt Busch is there.
Oh, don't block the entrance to pit road.
Clear all around.
Now, the only other thing he's got to worry about now is if the car stalls. If the car stalls, the guy's got to get the ether out, spray the thing with ether, possibly bump start it. That's all time.
44 laps to go. Bobby Labonte trying to get to his pit box, Bill.
It's a 2.5-mile track. Pit road is 2,175 feet, and every inch right now critical for Bobby Labonte. Weaving the car back and forth, trying to get fuel so the engine stays running. Now it sounds like it has stalled. Remember, they need to pack this very full, but obviously a big loss here. They're going to have to spray the ether in there to get it restarted. They come around to the left side, put the left side tires on. They'll have 4 tires, but it's the fuel that's going to be the big issue, and how long it takes him to get it started. Spraying fuel in there, trying to get it to go. They've got a little nozzle in there where you spray in the fuel. It helps ignite the engine, and Bobby Labonte takes off. Fast pit stop, but very frustrating getting back here, and longer than they'd ever want to spend on pit road at Indianapolis.
Gosh, oh, here comes Sterling Marlin, Kurt Busch. These guys, I believe, can make it the rest of the way.
Top 2 are in, Dave.
Kurt Busch is in now. Another great run for this youngster. He is just doing a fantastic job. A little damage to the right rear. They will try to take both 4 tires around to the left side now as he gives up track position, but a great run for this rookie whose younger brother actually ran in a Craftsman Truck Series race Friday night right here in Indianapolis. Rusty Wallace is in too. But let's first go to Marty Snyder.
And Dave, Sterling Marlin is in. The command given from Lee McCall, the crew chief, to Jerry Sweitz, the gas man. Pack it full of fuel. They panicked when Bobby Labonte ran out of fuel. The car is very good. They think they can make it all the way on fuel. To Bill Weber.
Jeff Burton loose in 2 and 4, pushing every place else. They made a chassis adjustment, air pressure adjustment, tires, and hopefully enough fuel to reach the finish. We'll see.
5,000.
Dave.
Rusty Wallace has run all 7 Brickyard 400 races to this point. He is in his 8th. He has only finished as good as 2nd 2 times. He desperately wants to win. They made just a slight air pressure adjustment. He was a little tight and changed 4 tires.
All right, Jeff Burton, Kurt Busch, and Sterling Marlin ran 41 laps on the tank of fuel they just replenished. They've got 42 to go to make the checkered flag at Indy.
Oh, no. I wish you had told me that.
Clear by 3 right now.
Each lap that goes by, the tension and the drama builds a little more.
I'll guarantee guarantee you they're telling the driver, you can make it. Don't worry about it. Just drive that race car.
New leader is Steve Park. Tony Stewart is second. Dale Earnhardt Jr. that we ride with now is third. So things have cycled back around after the stops. You got a couple guys in the running order now who haven't stopped yet. Elliott Sadler is running fourth for the moment. Then you'll get back to Dale Jarrett, Jeff Gordon, Kevin Harvick, Bill Elliott, Ward Burton, and then Sterling Marlin.
Although there will be some guys, believe me, there'll be some crew chiefs telling their drivers, hey, try to conserve fuel, which is hard to do in any racetrack because you still got to run competitive times because there's a bunch of other guys that are trying to make this thing on fuel mileage as well. But they're going to tell the drivers, just do what you can. Draft as much as you can.
Looks good.
300 miles just completed in the Brickyard 400. 4.6 seconds from Steve Park. This car in the lead, back to Tony Stewart, the second place runner. We're getting down to what promises to be a dramatic finish. Don't go away. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. At the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Steve Park is the leader of the 8th Brickyard 400. He's out by 4.8 seconds, a massive advantage on Tony Stewart, but Park's got to make another pit stop before the checkered flag.
See, Jeff Gordon lost a couple of spots that last time.
From the way things have been, the track
stop summary. And what we're measuring here, we're measuring the total time it takes the driver to make his in-lap and his out-lap. We talked, Wally, earlier, it's not just the time the car stopped on pit road, guys.
And we see Dale Earnhardt Jr. was 3 seconds slower than Tony Stewart because of that.
Look at Dale Jarrett.
Woohoo, look
He's
at that.
the man right there. He wins that contest.
So that's in, out, total of the 2 laps. Now, we talked about Bobby Labonte and his problems on the pit stop earlier when the car was out of fuel when he got to his box.
Watch this. Ray Boland is squirting gasoline into the carburetor. There's a small hose that runs down to the air cleaner into the carburetor. A lot of teams will use ether, and they just spray it at the air intake. But, see, the car won't start. This is gasoline. Ether boosts the compression ratio on the engine so much, some engine builders think it will injure the engine, so they're using gasoline.
But as a driver, I prefer the ether fumes over the gasoline.
So you can go to sleep, right?
Yeah, we can tell that. Bobby Labonte came in, was as high as 6th position before the cycle of pit stops started. Now he's back to 13th because of all that lost time. How about it for Steve Park? Pretty impressive day so far, but the question is, if we go green from here to the finish, Kurt Busch,
40s and 50s, looking good. Good on second place.
Sterling Marlin, Jeff Burton, they can make it to the finish on gas.
He'll let you go because he's having trouble with the 31 and follow you through, and you work with him if the caution comes out.
Now, BP, you know, if you were out there and you're on a gas mileage run, and I was following you, which you'd be following me, actually, sorry, but if that were happening, wouldn't we get together and try to draft a little bit? Because that's going to help on the fuel mileage. No. Or is it just not close enough?
I'll let you run in front and use all that fuel while I ride in the back and take advantage of that, you see.
Would you do that? Can't believe you do that.
Mark Martin, the 6 car, involved on a crash on the 2nd lap.
Mark's not having a bad day, all things considered. He's in 22nd position. Matt, how about Mark Martin's day?
Well, Alan, he can go the distance on fuel, but it certainly has been a difficult day. Currently, Mark Martin running in the 22nd position. Trouble on the racetrack earlier, but it certainly has been a victory all week long because Sean Parker's wife, Tara, has now gone a week with a new heart transplant. But the story does not end there because 2 weeks ago, before she had her heart transplant, Tara celebrated her 27th birthday by making 500 green ribbons because they're starting a grassroots level campaign to gain awareness for organ donors. If they feel like their story is going to have a happy ending because the doctors are very encouraged, but they know what it's like to sit by the phone and wait for that phone to ring, that magical phone call saying they have an organ for their sick family members. So they're starting a grassroots level. All the Roush guys and a number of other team members are wearing this green ribbon today.
Touching story. What Sean Parker and Tara went through last week. The phone call coming in at 4 a.m. up in Pocono for Sean from his wife that The donor had become available. Jack Roush flying him back to Winston-Salem, where the operation went on later that day. That was last Saturday.
And how would you like to be awakened at 4 o'clock in the morning and your wife, who's waiting a heart transplant, say, it's time?
Yeah.
Man, oh man.
And things continue to go well, and that is great news for Sean, who might be one of the hardest working people in all of NASCAR Winston Cup racing. Countless hours spent massaging this race car with a great deal of success over the years, but nonetheless, while a lot of distracting things were on his mind.
There's a cat in the hat.
Jack Roush, the team owner for Mark Martin.
Surrounded by Roushketeers.
Go.
Is that what you're calling him now?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Mark Martin's a Roushketeer, and John Parker.
While Steve Park was hung up behind Mark Martin and Robbie Gordon, he lost about a second of his lead. It's now 3.7 from Park back to Tony Stewart. We are about to get the 30-lap to go mark upon us in the Brickyard 400 at Indy. At the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the Brickyard 400 story has taken a turn. The caution is out. Something on the racetrack in turn 3. The yellow flag brings the pace car out in front of the field. The fuel mileage thing has just gone out the window.
Sterling Marlin, Kurt Busch, Jeff Burton. Man, oh man, this thing is just, there's a debris up in turn 3.
And you can see it's in the racing line, on the edge of the racing line, so whatever it is, it's enough to bring out the caution. Next weekend, our race for the championship coverage of NASCAR moves on to the road course in Watkins Glen, New York. Saturday, we'll have the NASCAR Busch North Series at 2 Eastern Time. And then Sunday, Subway presents NASCAR Winston Cup Racing on NBC at 12:30 Eastern Time. It's always fun at Watkins Glen. Hammer down 90-lap race. It's a short one, but it's a hard one. And we look forward to bringing that one to you next weekend here on NASCAR's new home, NBC Sports.
And that one car, Steve Park, who's leading the Brickyard 400, was the winner last year at Watkins Glen.
Better than 250,000 looking on at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Tony Stewart has a new leash on life.
Yeah.
He now is going to be able to make a pit stop, and he's going to be able to be back up front with a chance to win.
Okay, you're Steve Park's crew chief. You're, let's say, Bill Elliott's crew chief back in 8th. 2 or 4 tires.
Pits are open.
Tony Stewart will get 2.
Okay, to get the lead.
I agree. He's going to get 2.
Park?
Yeah, but Park is going to take 2.
All right.
Hey, buddy.
Sterling Marlin stays out. Marlin doesn't pit.
Pit road stuff. Clear pit in, clear pit out.
Dave?
Dale Earnhardt Jr. is in. 4 tire stop for him. No chassis adjustments. Air pressure only for Dale.
And that time the lug nuts stayed on the car. Stayed on those wheels.
4 tires there, Marty.
And Steve Park, the leader, is in. His car is just a little bit loose. They debated on an air pressure adjustment. They decided not to make an air pressure adjustment. Pit stops that could decide. The Brickyard 400 Park with a very fast stop. Tony Stewart behind him, 1 round down. Track bar for Tony Stewart. A lot of guys take 2 tires, but 4 tires for Tony Stewart and Steve Park to Matt Yoakum.
Jeff Gordon's already down and away and back out of the racetrack. He was one of the teams that only took on 2 tires, a slight chassis adjustment of wedge, working on that race car. Let's go back to Bill.
Ward Burton had the highest running Dodge when the cars came on pit road. He took 4 tires and a chassis adjustment, and they hope to win by a nose.
Weber with the sly remark about the Dodge rule change this week, extending the lower lip of that front bumper forward by another 2 inches. Let's take a look at what NASCAR's allowed the Dodge teams to do this week.
All right, this area here, they've been able to extend that 2 inches. There you see a good example of it. It is now 2.5 inches from a 1/2 inch.
And that allows the car to do what?
Gives it more downforce on the nose, gives it more grip, and we're seeing that today here at Indianapolis.
Dodgers have run well.
Yeah.
And right now we have a Dodge leading the race. Sterling Marlin did not pit, but will those used tires reach out and bite him?
1977, the last race win by a Dodge in the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. Here's our Pepsi race recap of the Brickyard 400. Went green with Jimmy Spencer and Bill Elliott on the front row, but only got a couple of laps into it before trouble. Andy Houston in the 96 spun in turn 2. By the time it was over, Robert Presley, Matt Kenseth, and Mark Martin were involved in the wreck. Lap 22, Ricky Rudd had the belts come off his car. Engine overheated, went to the garage. He's back, but he's many laps down. Pit road tight at Indy. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Hutch Strickland among those getting together on an early set of pit stops, though all continue. Jimmy Spencer nudges Ryan Newman. Newman is into the wall while running in the top 5 at lap number 32. Then just a few laps later on the restart, Dave Blaney gets caught into an incident. He runs into the back of another car. He went behind the wall. This is Casey Atwood running into the back of Dale Jarrett in traffic behind the Ryan Newman crash. His engine overheated. He was done for the day and out of the race. We move ahead to lap 117. It was Kurt Busch moving by Bobby Labonte while Bobby ran out of fuel trying to stretch it to be able to make the finish on one more stop. He got the thing restarted, but he fell back to 13th position. Then the caution came out and negated the whole fuel situation anyway, setting up a rather wild thrash to the finish.
Other than that, nothing's really happened.
It's been eventful, hasn't it? Mountain Dew pit summary.
Steve Park goes in first and comes out 8th. Jeff Gordon goes in 5th, comes out 2nd. You see all this? Johnny Benson, 14th to 4th. Rusty Wallace, 13th to 5th. How'd they do that? It wasn't magic, folks. Gordon, Craven, Benson, Wallace all changed 2 tires on their stop.
As did Kurt Busch. So those drivers occupying the 2nd through 6th positions behind Sterling Marlin, who did not stop. Marty.
Well, let's ask Tony Glover why Sterling Marlin did not stop. Why'd you not stop, Tony?
It's our only shot to win the race. I mean, we can't line back up 8th or 9th and win the race. We've got the Coors car is a good race car. The Coors Light car, we just got to have track position. You know, hopefully this will give us some track position, and we'll see what the Columbian Comets got for them here in this shootout.
They together have won 2 Daytona 500s, going for their first Brickyard 400. Can they do it? We'll find out in about 26 laps.
We need to do that as a feature sometime. We need to record Tony Glover coaching Sterling on the radio. It is absolutely comical.
The Columbia Comet.
Yeah, there
Not
you go.
the Rushville Rocket, the Columbia Comet. Sterling being from Columbia, Tennessee.
Would we have to capture that, though?
Yeah.
We'd have to capture
Oh, it's comical. Getting set for the restart. There'll be 25 laps to go.
You ready? Pace car's off. You ready? 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 Nice and smooth now. Nice and smooth. Green flag. Go, 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 go.
Oh, Jeff is trying to get that run. Sterling does not want him down there, but it didn't work.
Jeff Gordon to the lead at Indianapolis. The fans are going crazy. Hometown hero takes the point.
Jeff knows the best chance he's got is to put as much distance between him and those guys. Got 4 fresh tires right now, so he's going to get it.
For a guy who went nowhere in the early part of this race, wouldn't you believe, in the final laps, Gordon finds himself racing for the win. No surprise. Look at the traffic. Steve Park caught back in 8th position. He was the leader before the caution. Race for the championship. Remember, Ricky Rudd is many laps down. He's in 40th position after the engine problems. Gordon and Jarrett, 1st and 8th.
And Dale Jarrett is over 3.5 seconds behind Jeff Gordon. But the worst part, he's got all those cars back there that he's got to try to get through. There's on the inside of Tony Stewart. He's got by the 1 and the 20. Well, maybe not the 20 yet.
Maybe not.
Now, while these guys are racing,
look out!
Stewart almost lost it there.
Into the wall. Tony Stewart into the outside wall.
But while all this is happening, the 24 is stretching his lead.
And that's what Tony Glover was talking about. They needed track position. They knew if he got back in this mess, they were not going to win. And Tony Stewart looks like is not going to win today.
And will be bitterly disappointed.
Oh.
Bitterly.
He wants to win at this speedway almost as bad as he wants to draw a breath.
Let's go back and take another look at what happened to Tony Stewart a lap ago.
Comes off the 2nd corner. He's trying to turn under the 88 car, but He just gets up and runs in the wall with the right rear, and that looks like the car it's affected the handling on the car because he had to back off and let the 22 car go by on the outside.
And what you got to be careful when that happens, especially here in Indianapolis, is that fender closes in on the tire, and the tire will start rubbing on the fender, and that's a real scary deal.
Jeff Gordon leads, Sterling Marlin is second, and look who's third, Ricky Craven after the two-tire stop. What a story this guy is. Driver for Maine who after a series of accidents was out of Winston Cup racing for over a year. Caution's out, Jerry Nadeau in the wall.
Now this will help the 1 car, the 8 car, and Tony Stewart, I guess, will have to make a pit stop and check those fenders that you're talking about.
Nadeau had just been penalized a lap by NASCAR at the end of that last caution for pitting out of his box. You got to have the car within the painted pit box on pit road. It wasn't properly positioned. He was penalized, and now he's crashed. Seventh caution flag of this race.
Now, the last guy that wanted to see this caution was the 24.
Oh, yeah.
Because he had put some distance on between those guys, him and the 4 tires, and he's sitting there going, oh, man, if this thing would have went green, I had a good shot.
Now, when they throw the green flag of the restart, do you think Sterling Marlin is going to try to get a good jump and get under Jeff Gordon down to turn 1?
If he wants it bad enough.
Let's go take a look at what happened to Jerry Nadeau that brought out the caution flag.
Well, it's hard to imagine not being in contact going in the turn like that, but there's so much smoke, I have no idea.
There were a couple other cars in that cloud somewhere.
And 21 cars already on the apron when that's happening. Right here, see Elliott
Sadler.
Hard to see.
And Tony Furr and the crew on the 25 car at Loudon, New Hampshire, they had 2 cars that looked like that. So
what is Michael Waltrip doing back there?
Keeping the tires clean, especially when you run through debris like that. You've got to be careful.
Most of the lead lap cars, about all of them, have stayed on the racetrack. So we'll take a break. We're back to Indy in a minute.
NBC's coverage of the NASCAR Winston Cup Brickyard 400 is brought to you by Zima. Clearly refreshing. By Goodyear. Serious technology. Freedom from worry. By Walmart. Always low prices. Always. And by Team Monte Carlo. The cars more champions depend on. Chevy will be there.
Using lessons learned from his father to go from 6th to 1st and score the victory in the Pepsi 400. Diving. Incredible racing in the final laps here at Pocono.
Four great finishes in our first 4 NASCAR Winston Cup races on NBC Sports and TNT. We're less than 20 laps away from the finish of this one. Will it be another spectacular finish? It's been a great race. We'll have to see when the checkered flag falls and the winner pulls right in here to victory lane. Jeff Gordon is the leader under caution here at Indianapolis. What a stunning career he has had. 3 Winston Cup championships and 55 wins. He's won here twice. And right now, he's probably thinking about what it would mean to be the first 3-time winner of the Brickyard 400.
A win's a win. We don't try to count how many we've had or be the first 3 or 4 time or 5 time. We just want to win. So we hope that we've got what it takes. And when it's all said and done, if then we accomplish some great statistic, then super.
Jeff Gordon, the leader under caution here at Indianapolis. Now the Speedway admits to having 250,000 seats around this track. A lot of those fans here are Jeff Gordon fans. We go to tracks all around the country, and during driver introductions, a lot of those fans boo Jeff Gordon because they're rooting for the other 42. But here in Indianapolis, he gets some of the biggest cheers. And now he leads the field around this track, thinking about career win number 56. Let's go back upstairs to Alan.
All right, Bill, thank you. Field just getting a signal in one more lap. We go racing. 18 laps left in the Brickyard 400. Jeff Gordon got 2 tires on his pit stop. Sterling Marlin, none. Steve Park, who was the leader, got 4 tires, but he's back in 8th position.
24 car. He's in the spot he wants to be in. He doesn't make many mistakes.
Here's the problem. We've talked about track position. We've talked about how critical it is. Steve Park is in 8th position, but he's starting 16th. There will be 8 cars lined up to his inside that he has to go by those cars as well as the 7 cars in front of him. If they can line these cars up single file, he might have a better chance.
Does Marlin have a shot on the older tires of getting by Jeff Gordon?
He was keeping up with Jeff Gordon just a moment ago. I think he's as fast as Jeff, but can he get by him? What will Jeff do on the restart? Will he go straight to the inside and force Marlin to try to pass him on the outside?
Let's hear from Jeff Gordon's crew chief with Matt Yoakum.
And Jeff Gordon talked about how special it would be to win a 3rd Brickyard 400. And Robbie Loomis, how special would it be for you to win a Brickyard 400?
Still a long way off. You know, these guys worked hard all day just to get us in contention. We're going to see what happens here at the end.
On the last restart, the goal was just to get by the 40 and run. What about now?
Yeah, Jeff likes that clean air. We'll see what the thing does out front.
Robbie Loomis, you are a terrible actor, buddy. You want this thing as bad as anybody.
You know he does.
Playing the Iceman part, isn't he? All right, we're set to go. Pace car will turn off onto pit road this time. Todd Bodine in that light blue car, the first one to the inside of the leader, is in 24th position. He's the first one a lap down. He's got to try and get his lap back from Jeff Gordon. If a caution comes out, he could come back around for a good finish in this thing. We'll see what kind of role he plays. We'll see if Sterling Marlin is able to get a good jump as they come down for the green flag.
You ready? 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 Green flag.
Oh, and Sterling Marlin's going to get hung behind the 66. Huge break for Jeff Gordon.
And again, that's what he had to do. He had to clear that lap car to get the distance. If he started racing with him through 1 and 2, those guys would have been all over him on the backstretch.
Wally, driver protocol. How long does Todd Bodine stay between the front 2 into the closing laps of this race?
If Jeff starts pulling away from me the next 2 or 3 laps, you got to let these guys race. And Todd knows he can't win this race, but he's got to stay close enough now and hope that there is a yellow. But if another 2 or 3 laps, if Sterling's barking on my back door, I got to let him go.
Ricky Craven cleared the lap car of Bobby Hamilton that had gotten in front of him on the restart, so the 3rd place car is now in contact with the man he's racing for position, Sterling Marlin. Somebody just had a little puff of smoke going into turn 1.
Yeah, I saw that.
Views at the Brickyard, courtesy of the United States Army, an army of one. There are 212 ways to be a soldier. Find out more at GoArmy.com.
Right now, too, you know, Jeff's in clean air, so he's putting his car where he wants. No other cars are affecting the way his car is handling. That's the place you want to be. Sterling, when he gets close to that 66 car, he may be tight, and that's going to hurt him.
There's Todd Bodine.
And that's the right thing to do, Todd. That was the right thing to do. These guys are racing for the win. Let them go.
If Jeff Gordon should go on to win this race, he will have started deeper in the field than anyone has ever done and won at Indianapolis. He started 27th today. The farthest back before was Dale Jarrett in 1996, who started in 24th position. So much for the importance of qualifying. There you go. Best come from behind win.
Rusty Wallace trying to get on the inside of Johnny Benson back there for 4th position.
Both these cars just took 2 tires on the lap 132 stop. Johnny Benson in his first Brickyard 400 back in 1996 led 70 laps. That was in his rookie season. up finishing 8th that day. Best finish of the season so far for Benson. 3rd place run at Texas Motor Speedway back in the spring.
See,
Ward Burton
trying to get on the inside of Steve Park. Looked like he was going to make that. And Ricky Craven, we see, is closed up right on the back bumper. Ooh, there we see that battle between Dale Jarrett, Ward Burton, Steve Park, and Dale Earnhardt Jr.
7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. And Dale Jarrett can't afford, championship-wise, to let any of these guys get by him. He's already losing positions and points to Jeff Gordon in the wash on the day. If Gordon wins the race, he can't afford to lose any more ground. If he can help it. I mean, there are still a lot of races to go in the season. But it's not going to help his cause to lose any more points today.
Looking low. Inside 22.
He may lose 2 or 3 here.
Yeah, he just might. Because Steve Park's going to follow. And there's not going to be a gap to get in, I don't think.
Now the 8 car will dive down underneath, follow the 1 car. And there's nothing he can do. The car's not going to turn up there.
Clear, all clear, all clear.
He had to roll out of the throttle.
So he lost 3 positions that lap. Up front, there's the interval. Jeff Gordon to Sterling Marlin and Ricky Craven.
Okay, here we go. Coming out of turn 2. Hard on the gas all the way down. You got a long straightaway. And what you want to do, go ahead, Denny.
Let's look at this telemetry and see what kind of miles per hour, what kind of RPM Sterling is turning. Around 190 miles per hour, about 8,800 RPMs. I did not hear the car hit a rev limiter. If they did, he probably would hit a different switch, go to a different ignition system to eliminate a rev limiter. Down the front stretch.
What Benny talking about a rev limiter is they don't want to turn these engines over a certain RPM, so they put in a chip in the ignition box which cuts the engine out at, say, 9,000 RPMs.
But they also have a backup ignition switch. They can turn that primary off, turn on the second. It has no limiter. They can turn it any RPMs that it will turn down the straightaway. And Sterling Marlin right now is closing in on the back bumper of Jeff Gordon, just 2/3 of a second behind him.
Yellow dot on the racetrack map showing you where on the speedway he is. I would think by this point in the race with 12 to go, I'd have flipped to that ignition box with no limiter on it, wouldn't you?
Yeah, he already did.
Yeah, he already did. That's why we're not hearing the limiter. Last time by, Jeff Gordon was 2/3 of a second in front of Sterling Marlin. This time, he's about 4/5 of a second. So Jeff Gordon that lap was faster than Sterling Marlin.
There's the real-time interval between the two.
Let's see where Sterling Marlin is losing distance. There he lost 2/10. Now he's back to about the same. Well, Sterling really got off turn 2 well that time.
Closed in a little bit. And at a place like this, a racetrack with relatively little banking, it's all about gaining ground in increments, in feet. You're not going to get it in big bunches.
Yeah, and you can very easily overdrive this racetrack. And when you overdrive, you know, especially when you're following 24 cars, say, you know what, I'm going to go in a little bit deeper. And by going in a little bit deeper, that's going to make the car push. And then you lose 3/10 on them.
10 laps to go. Jeff Gordon seeking a 3rd win in the Brickyard 400.
The 22 car, Ward Burton, the fastest car of the top 10 the last time. Second fastest, Steve Park, and 3rd, Johnny Benson. But the winner, if this stays green the rest of the way, the winner will be decided between these 2 cars. If Sterling doesn't run out of fuel, I don't think he should. Johnny Benson making a move on the inside of Ricky Craven for 3rd. Oh, he's still trying to get alongside.
And here's what I talked about. You got to take away the 32's racing line. You got to be aggressive right now and take away his racetrack.
Oh, that was close.
Yep.
Benson with the inside line this time. Should get him into turn one. Marty Snyder has more on Ricky Craven.
And guys, no matter what, this will be a great run for Ricky Craven. Their second top 5 of the season, their 4th top 10 of the season. They finished 10th at Pocono last week, and they tested a brand new car here that they really liked, but instead they decided to bring that car they ran at Pocono that finished 10th because it ran so well here in the lane. I think in 4th, 5th, wherever Craven finishes, they're very happy down here in the Tide pit.
He's just lost 4th to Rusty Wallace, rather. That puts him back in 5th. And it's Kurt Busch behind him now to try and challenge for that spot. And Ward Burton.
And there comes Steve Park, that yellow number 1 car. Kurt Busch off the corner. He's making a move on Craven. Looks like he's going to get position.
They're all lined up. And that's, that's the thing. Kurt, whoa, here comes the 22 car. Decided that he was going to give it a shot.
Ward Burton. Inside Kurt Busch. This is going on back for 6th position. Up front is Sterling Marlin making any kind of headway on Jeff Gordon.
Not much. It's about the same it was when we left you just a few moments ago. And there they are, 3 wide. Kurt Busch alongside the Ricky Craven car, but he's about to lose that spot to 22, and Busch just drove her down in turn 3.
Oh, and here comes Steve Park.
Clear all around.
To be so young and so brave.
Still clear. Nice and smooth. Good job, man. Good job, partner.
Kurt Busch turned 23 years old yesterday.
He's run a good race all day long. He's been smart. He's been clean. He's been patient. He's going to have a good finish out of this car.
He started 34th. He's running 5th. Outstanding try in his first Brickyard 400.
I've been really impressed with the way has driven that car in on the outside of Ward Burton.
No one has been better than Jeff Gordon at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway since the NASCAR Winston Cup Series started running here in 1994.
Once again, checking out our interval, and you'll see it hasn't changed that much. He goes back from 7/10, there it is, to 3/4 of a second. It's like when Sterling's car gets to a certain point that it stops gaining.
I think he's getting into that tightness we talked about. That arrow push is hurting his car. It's frustrating for Sterling because he wants to drive this car harder, but he can't, because the harder you drive right now, the worse it's going to make it. You got to be very smooth and precise.
Fuel out of the equation for Sterling. We're pretty positive he can make it the rest of the way.
If they build it.
I mean, they've had a couple of cautions. They've had caution flag laps, which, you feel that you figure you can run 2 caution flag laps equals 1 green flag lap. So I don't see any reason why he would not make it. But all of a sudden now, Sterling Marlin is losing some time to Jeff Gordon.
Marty Snyder has more on Sterling Marlin.
Fuel is not a concern for Sterling Marlin, but what is a concern is exactly what Wally was talking about, overdriving. On the radio, Tony Glover saying drive with a big heart, but don't overdrive it, buddy. You can't do that. Just sit right there in second. Try to drive the best you can, but hit your marks. Don't overdrive the racetrack.
5 laps to go. Jeff Gordon, the 1994 and 98 winner of this race, grew up in Pittsboro, Indiana, about 20 miles from here as the crow flies. Considers this his home track. Thought his career, which began from go-karts, quarter midgets and the like, into the USAC open wheel circuit, so prevalent in the central part of the country, thought his career would take him to Indy cars in the Indianapolis 500. But a fateful turn of events led him to driving the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. Rick Hendrick snagging onto the young man. He's been nothing short of sensational since.
Robbie Lewis watching the car make one more lap down the straightaway.
Somebody needs to wake Robbie up. I think he's almost sleeping.
But you know that inside Robbie Lewis is just one bundle of nerves. This would be his first victory as crew chief for Jeff Gordon in the Brickyard 400.
You know what? pit road, Matt.
Alan, watching Robbie Loomis sit here quietly on top of the pit box, his RPMs as far as chewing his gum has gone up about 150 to 200 RPMs. But I'll tell you what he told me on Friday, when he walks through the gates here at Indy, it's like his first week ever on the job as a Winston Cup crew member. He said he could not imagine what it would be like to win here. It's been his dream. He doesn't have too many more laps to wait to find out if that dream will reach reality.
And I'll tell you what, folks, I mean, I'm sorry, but when this race started 25 laps into the race, I'd have bet the farm that Jeff Gordon was not going to win today because his car looked pathetic.
I cannot agree with you on that one, Benny. These guys are the best at getting their car tuned in through the race. I mean, they're better than anybody at it. It shows. They just keep dialing and dialing and dialing.
Again, they are very good. I just thought they had too far to go for him to be in victory lane. It looks like with 3 laps to go, he's going to make it.
Dave Burns.
Alan, isn't this the same way that Jeff Gordon looked in Pocono? When he was in traffic late in the race, his car never did anything. But when he was in clean air, he ran great. He dominated the race, and we thought he'd win Pocono.
Oh, boy, he's coming close to that wall.
Hey, I tell you what, Jeff Gordon, it looks to me like he's giving everything he's got right now. He is using this entire racetrack. To me, that's a signal he's giving 100% to bring this baby home.
First time Jeff Gordon led in this race was past halfway, lap 109. During a series of green flag pit stops, he was out front for 3 laps before he made his stop. But he came to the fore at lap 136, and Robbie Loomis made the call for just 2 tires on what was their final pit stop of the race. Got Gordon out in front in that clean air, and he's never looked back.
And look at the fans when he goes by, all these Indiana fans waving him on.
Up to a full second, the advantage over Sterling Marlin for Jeff Gordon.
Look at those fans. Attaboy, Jeff, they're saying. You're one of our own.
It'll be the white flag as Gordon comes off of turn 4 and down the front straightaway.
And once again, going right up against that outside retaining wall.
Final lap of the Brickyard 400 is underway. Jeff Gordon out in front of Sterling Marlin by 1 second. He celebrated his 30th birthday here yesterday with family and friends around him. Celebrated with a rather subpar qualifying run that put him back 27th on the starting grid. The car not very good in the opening part of the race. The crew kept working, got the strategy right, got the chassis right, and now Jeff Gordon is 1 corner away from a Brickyard 400 win. The last 3 straight years, the winner of this race has gone on to be the NASCAR Winston Cup Series champion. Jeff Gordon, the point leader, comes off the corner and becomes a 3-time winner of the Brickyard 400 at Indianapolis.
Way to go, Jeff. Robbie, your whole guys, all of you. Wonderful job.
He's done it again. Jeff Gordon has done it again. A race that it looked like he didn't have a chance to win. And he winds up going to the winner's circle to hold the big trophy.
I'm amazed.
It's Gordon beating Sterling Marlin by 9/10 of a second, with Johnny Benson, Rusty Wallace, and Kurt Busch rounding out the top 5. And let's go hear from the winning crew chief.
And the celebration begins down here on pit road as Robbie Loomis wins the biggest race of your career, Robbie. You told me you dreamed of someday winning here. Does now reality match that dream?
Yeah, I tell you, it's really special. You know, we started so bad today, and this pit crew, the guys on this team, they just work, they work, they work. You know, we had a great engine today. Rick Hendrick supplies us with great stuff to work with. Put Jeff Gordon on top of it, let him fight all day long. You get a result like this. I mean, you get in the situation, you start a race as bad as we did today. You guys saw it, and, you know, it's really great to be sitting here. We're going to count our blessings. I'd like to thank the good Lord because I was praying a lot there at the end, and really worked out well.
You told me your most special memory from here was when the King came out of retirement to take a few laps. Now that you've won here, can you describe what this win means to you?
You know, it's funny there. You know, I was trying to think of different things to keep my mind off it at the end. 93, Richard came up here the first time, ran those laps around here. That was really special. I think they got the car in the museum, and
Petty family's been great to me. Just very fortunate to be with this team. This team's the greatest race team, and that driver's unbelievable.
A special and emotional win for Robbie Loomis and the 24 team. Loomis prepared the car that Rick Hendrick won his 100th career win as a car owner at Michigan. This same car wins at Indy. Alan?
Thumbs up from Jeff Gordon on his 56th career NASCAR Winston Cup Series victory. Here are the top 10 finishers in the 8th running of the Brickyard 400. We'll hear from the winner and the other top finishers when we come back on NBC. The winner's trophy for the Brickyard 400, inscribed with each victor's name. Jeff Gordon's on there twice already, and the blank panel awaiting the 3rd inscription after his victory today. But Jeff Gordon came around to the start-finish line trying to celebrate with the crowd and do a little burnout.
Jeff, you've got to hold your foot on the brake when you do it. That's how Harvick gets away with it, man.
I was listening to his radio channel. He came on the radio about here and said, I can't do it.
That might be the first time he has tried to do a burnout.
Oh, terrific. After the slow celebration lap around the speedway, drinking it in to the applause of the fans, Gordon is heading into victory lane now, and after taking the Brickyard 400, Chevy congratulates Jeff and the number 24 Monte Carlo team on a big win. Jeff will tell you the only thing that comes close to Monte Carlo's reputation on the track is its reputation on the street. Monte Carlo, more champions depend on Chevy. We'll be there. Let's go to Bill Weber.
Well, you know, Alan, I was just thinking, you mentioned how Jeff Gordon dreamed about winning here. I imagine he always dreamed about winning on a Sunday here as well, because that's when the Indianapolis 500 is usually scheduled. Well, now his first Sunday win, his 3rd win in the Brickyard 400, and this, his 56th career victory. Very sweet win for the 3-time Winston Cup champion. A great lap here, a wave to the fans. Now he will climb out and celebrate as the winner of the Brickyard 400 in 2001. And you'll be able to hear the appreciation from the hometown Indianapolis fans. Jeff Gordon in victory lane at Indianapolis. His wife, Brooke, car owner Rick Hendrick. And a worn-out Jeff Gordon. How's it feel to be 30?
Woo! Oh, I think I got a few new gray hairs after today. Wow, what an incredible day. I never dreamed it. You know, at the beginning we were way off. I think most of it's just being in traffic more so than the car being off. And, you know, here lately we hadn't had too many pit strategy things go for us, but today that was the key. You know, we had one caution follower way early, and then it was whether we took 2 or gas and go there at the end, and we took 2, and it was absolutely the perfect thing to do. Car drove great once I got out front.
Who made that decision, Jeff?
Well, you know, Robbie makes all the calls. I mean, he, you know, talks to other guys on the team. He knows what's going on. He talks to me. We make it together. And, you know, we were between no tires and 2 tires, and I mean, I thought that we needed 2, you know, and we needed some tires. If it was just 1, you know, we needed it. But I just want to thank God. This has just been such an amazing week for me. You know, this is the best way to celebrate my birthday, and I just thank him for everything. But I want to thank DuPont Automotive Fishes and DuPont, all the corporate business that are involved with this team. Pepsi, Fritos, Tropicana, Chevrolet, Quaker State, GMAC. It's just been a phenomenal day. This is absolutely amazing.
Hey, yesterday you told us you don't race for records, you race for wins. What are you going after?
I got to get my Foster Grants out here. It's a little bright out here.
You told us you don't race for records, you race for wins, but you're the first 3-time winner of the Brickyard 400 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, your track.
Thank you, Bill. It feels unbelievable. I mean, to have all these people still here cheering us on, I got choked up in the car. You know, it feels amazing. I love Indianapolis. I love the state of Indiana. It's been so good to me. And I want to say hi to all the folks out in Pittsburgh. I know they're excited and going to be celebrating tonight. But, you know, I don't know. Sometimes things just work in your favor, you know, and certainly today all the right things did. I didn't think we had the car to do it, but Robbie Loomis, Brian Watch, all the guys in this DuPont Chevrolet team, they did a phenomenal job today.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And I don't race for statistics. I race to win, and if we win, then the statistics will come after that. And that's what happened today. 3 Brickyard 400.
Woo! Absolutely. Jeff Gordon is back home in victory lane. Alan. 4th win of the season for Jeff Gordon. Log on to NASCAR.com and play the AutoTrader.com Move of the Race Sweepstakes game for your chance to win a $25,000 shopping spree on AutoTrader.com and other great prizes. Fans starting to file out after the 8th Brickyard 400. Here are the final results. Johnny Benson, outstanding effort with his best ever Indianapolis finish. Dale Jarrett wound up 12th, losing ground to Jeff Gordon in the championship. And you will see Ricky Rudd way down the list in 39th spot after the early problems that cost him laps behind the wall for repairs. Let's hear from more of the top finishers in today's race with Marty Snyder.
Well, Alan, Sterling Marlin taking a rest on the wall this morning. You told me you would be happy with a top 5, but somehow this second place finish seems like a disappointment.
Yeah, it does. I'd just like to thank everybody on the Coors Light Dodge team, all the guys at the shop, and we can't get skunked on his restarts, and I don't know why it won't go, but Jeff got by and was pretty equal. I think I was maybe a tick better lap. He'd be a tick next lap, but like I said, hats off to all the guys. Thanks, Chip and Felix, let me drive his car, and we're going to keep working hard. We're going to get us one.
What was the deal with the restarts? Because Jeff got by you on the restart, and then also Todd Bodine, the lap car, got between you guys on the next restart.
I don't know. The last restart I missed a gear because I was determined to try to beat 66 in the one. But the one before that, Jeff rode up and hit me in the back end. And usually when you do that, you can take off and go. And he just took off. Our cars had trouble loading up on restarts and fuel pump or something. But, Tony and all the guys are working hard, and we'll just have to work a little harder and get it fixed.
Sterling Marlin finishes second. Let's go hear from Matt Yoakum.
Before today, Johnny Benson's best finish at the Brickyard was 7th. Johnny, career best 3rd today at Indy. But was that car a handful at the finish?
Oh, my God. It was a handful all day. James and the guys on the Valvoline Pontiac team just done a tremendous job. And we made changes I didn't think was possible under yellow. So they just kept working and working. And by the end of the race, we had the James Dean special paint job right there up front. And I was hanging on at the end, though. It was pretty tough.
A 5th last week at Pocono, a 3rd today for Johnny Benson.
Kurt Busch has had 2 other top 5s this year, but this one happened at Indianapolis. Kurt, how good is that?
It's a wonderful treat just to have the whole day go well. The team did an awesome job on the stop. Sharpie Rubbermaid car, the team, Jack Roush, the engine program, the chassis program. It was a treat to drive here at Indy. It's wonderful.
And, guys, he had a birthday yesterday and celebrated right here in town. So this is a good birthday present for Kurt Busch.
Championship standings after the Brickyard 400. Jeff Gordon led Ricky Rudd by 45 and Dale Jarrett by 107 coming in. The gap grows larger as we head to Watkins Glen next weekend. NASCAR and NBC travel to upstate New York next weekend. Coverage from the Glen beginning Saturday at 2 Eastern Time. Eastern Time. Subway presents Winston Cup Racing from Watkins Glen. Coming up tonight at 7, 6 Central on NBC, it's all your favorite reality shows back to back to back. Starting at 7, 6 Central with Spy TV, followed by Fear Factor and Weakest Link. What a day, what a race. 12 leaders, 18 lead changes, and in the end, Jeff Gordon uses pit strategy to get to the front, holding off Sterling Marlin over the final miles to become the first 3-time winner of the Brickyard 400. What a day. 250,000 plus looking on. There were bumps, bangs, and in the end, a local hero scores the victory at Indianapolis.
Come on, take a free ride.